Hello and welcome to session 21 of the Chronicles of Nidum presents Dice of the Beholder. No, Dice of the Beholder presents the Chronicles of Nidum, the other way around. It's been a very long weekend, sorry. Yes, so session 21, only 5 days after the last one, but there's probably going to be a longer break between this and the next one, because that was a special occasion, it was a birthday one. I've played a lot of D&D this weekend. It's almost broken my brain. However, this will always be my favourite campaign. Don't tell anyone else. They don't watch it. It's fine. All of my players have suddenly disappeared off the screen, so what I'm going to do is out them for being horrible to me. By just changing to a blank, completely blank thing, and it's their fault. See, all my players have abandoned me, so that's it. There will be no session 21 this week.
Who the fuck
And there they are. Thank you. I hate you all.
Who is that in this display picture?
You do not.
That is me. Because
you when you were very small.
Because Millie can't remember their
Skype login?
Yes, pretty much. So that was me with almost no hair. That was about 5 years ago.
That's horrendous.
Unacceptable.
I knew you then.
No.
Did we? 5 years.
No.
When did we meet Bry? When did he make his mistake?
Hang on, no, wait, hang on. Oh, I keep thinking it's
It
2020.
5 years
Because
ago.
Brad and I have been together for, well, just over 6 years.
No, that's 2020, so that is about 6 years ago, 2014.
Yeah, so that's probably just before we met you.
Yeah. That's when I last, I think that's
Cut
just
your hair?
before I last shaved my hair and then never cut it again.
Yeah.
Good.
At one point, I may even change the profile pic to when I looked like Grant Mitchell, Ross Kemp.
I love that picture so much.
Is it the LARP one where I'm walking in front of my entire faction? They're all blurred in the background. It's like Ross Kemp does LARP gangs. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just never allowed to shave your beard off again.
No.
No.
I didn't for your wedding.
Yeah.
I was told.
My
I was.
wedding if you did.
I know. You shouted at me.
Well, yeah, I mean,
And you still took your shirt off at my wedding.
Well, it's a wedding.
Your aunt.
It was a wedding. I cried. I disturbed your vows with my sniffles, and
and you had to be bodily kept away from Charlie's mum.
And I had to cut you off at the bar.
Yeah.
That was funny.
did I have to be kept away from Charlie's mum?
Yes, you kept asking
yeah.
me where my mum was. You found out my mum was single, and you're like, where's your mum? I'm not telling you, right?
Wasn't dating him then.
Yes, you were.
Yeah, you were.
Oh,
You did
yeah,
the same
I was.
thing at Em's wedding. You did the same thing at Em's wedding, but Em's mum is happily married.
However,
No, you were chatting to my auntie at
yes,
my wedding.
your aunt and I believe your godmother, and they thought I was hilarious.
My aunt Patty is in love with you still.
Yes, because I flirted with two older, much older women, and they found me incredibly charming and very, very funny.
Greg keeps disappearing. It's funny. And then
Yeah, no, my yarn is all caught up in my in the casters of my chair.
The knitting mum.
Chronicles of Nidum this week brought to you by knitting, as it is every week since lockdown.
I'm going to start bringing my knitting to your house.
You're like a little amethyst.
Kiba will destroy your knitting if you bring it to this house.
That's true.
Fry, your mouse thing is over the speaker controls again.
I
Oh, damn it,
apologise.
right.
No, on Skype.
Yes, I apologise. It's gone now.
It's gone now. Oh yeah, there's a delay.
Right, is everyone ready?
Do I look ready?
Yes.
Oh, then yes.
No, you don't look ready at all.
I don't feel ready. Can I just get back in my chair, do you think?
Yeah, maybe.
I'm back. Also, the background I'm currently using may or may not be copyrighted, so I'm going to do the infallible legal defense that people think works on YouTube. of saying no copyright intended. Credit to the original artist or what the fuck ever.
Surely it's no copyright infringement.
No, they say no copyright intended. It makes me laugh every time I see it because it's obvious. Like,
Oh, the whole like under the Fair Usage Act does.
yeah, it's. I mean, I'm going to argue
Like,
that it's fair use because that is a very poorly understood concept, and therefore maybe it is.
Also, it is fair use because it's a Dungeons and Dragons stream using official Dungeons and Dragons books for the characters. So, and we've done Tyranny of Dragons. We actually own the books that picture comes from, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We played all of Tyranny of Dragons.
Isn't your DM screen Tyranny of Dragons though, bro?
No, my DM screen is just a standard DM screen remastered, which was another lovely birthday present. Thank you very much. But
that was sort of more of a starting D&D.
That was more of a we've wanted to play D&D for ages. Thank you for running a campaign presence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did want to say one more thing before we get started.
Okay.
Okay.
I noticed at the start of the stream we've got some new character art, and it was
Ooh,
done
yes.
by the very lovely Becky Appleyard, who can be found on Facebook and Instagram, and I think Twitter as well. But she's very talented. She's done our last 2 lots of character portraits, and we're very grateful. And she always does a good job and really listens to what we want from characters, and is happy to make adjustments when we go, we don't like that hair colour, fix that.
I am actually going to credit her I'll start crediting her in the links in the YouTube videos and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, for the artwork, that would be really good. I think she'd appreciate that. And if you shared it to her, I think it would make her so happy.
I will.
You don't need to credit people. You just say no copyright intended. No, that works. It's fine.
It doesn't make any sense. It means nothing.
I know it's such a stupid thing to say.
But we own the art.
Yeah.
We own this art, yes.
Hello, Shane.
Ah,
Hi, Shane.
Shane! Yay!
Shane's here. We can start now.
I haven't already started by the time he said hi, so I can actually say hello back.
Yay. Also, we're glad Shane's here because now the internet will work.
Yeah.
Yes, bless
Shane didn't
bless
make it.
Em's internet.
Please. It
Yeah.
is doing a struggle.
I believe Shane has watched the last session now because I was very upset that he missed it. It was a heck of a time to sign out.
Yeah.
See his comments on Facebook.
No, but Twitter. I see things on Twitter.
Of course you do.
Ben
I
doesn't
don't
go on
I don't
Facebook.
go on Facebook. I'm not a boomer.
Well, I am, so
No, you're not. You're a
No,
millennial.
millennial, but still, I use Facebook.
I'm just a millennial.
Only just.
Shut up. I thought that point was enough made with I'm just a millennial.
Shall we start?
We should. Thank you, Charlie. So, last time on the Chronicles of Nidum, you found yourselves taken to meet with Father, a very imposing dark-skinned gentleman with one eye, who had his lair, or his base of operations, underneath the council chamber of,
Are you going to tell me it's not a cult and then refer to it as his lair?
the ruling government of the city of Cawdid. You were given a mission to infiltrate and ruin the life of a prominent elven councillor in the city, and were given lodgings, or taken to lodgings that you purchased yourselves, just opposite his abode. You were tasked with completing this mission any way you saw fit. Sepsis immediately deciding poison was the way to go. Asked Clint about any local apothecaries that he could potentially get more illicit substances from, and was directed to such. The rest of you, to keep Oriana's secret identity up, decided to go on a shopping outing. Sepsis met with Alakaz, the apothecary, who did some work with the Freedom Guild you now found yourself trying to get into, and you were like-minded fellows.
Both a bit murdery.
Unfortunately, Alakaz's prices were great, even for the guild. But an arrangement was made, wherein you were to remove an obstacle in Alakaz's business, a local guard captain who was looking too much into his affairs. You proceeded to take Oriana under your wing and make her complicit in this special mission to get yourself a discount with Alakaz. And Alakaz was to be Oriana was to be the honeypot that would distract the guard captain while you proceeded to poison them.
Have you forgotten his name?
Who?
The guard captain,
Guard
because
captain.
when you were recapping for M, you called him just. Well, first you called him a sheriff, and then you called him the captain. He's got time to look at his notes. It doesn't count anymore.
I haven't so much forgotten his name as
It was Robert.
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 Captain Robert.
I nearly called him Robert.
It's Captain Robert.
Unfortunately, Oriana almost threw a spanner in the works of your plan, whereupon meeting Robert was thoroughly charmed and almost
There was an
immediately...
oh no, he's hot moment.
Yeah. Almost immediately convinced by what Robert told her that Alakaz's business ventures were dark, twisted, and wrong, because Captain Robert was investigating him for transporting in children who were never seen again. Unfortunately, Captain Robert was still enough of a still hadn't
Bro, yeah.
dude bro to take you up on your drinking challenge, and you, being immune to poison, proceeded to try and drink the captain under the table. Captain, unfortunately not being immune to poison, was, after a few drinks, thoroughly affected by the poison you had put in the barrels, and leaving the bar, you were verbally stripped or verbally flayed by Oriana in the street before you both made your separate ways, one of you back to Alakaz, the other back to the hotel room.
Guess which?
It was there for the both of you, or all of you now respectively, that you were informed by Alakaz and Clint that the reason these children were being transported was to remove them from society at a young age before they could be indoctrinated into hating humanity. And it was there, once sepsis had returned, and because of the emotional turmoil everyone had faced that day, you all decided to take a long rest, that you rested your weary heads. And sepsis.
Hello.
You are being called, not in your sleep, but you wake and it is dark. It is not a dry, arid landscape as you're used to recently in your dreams. It is cold stone, a cellar room, familiar, circular. It's at the bottom of a very old, decrepit tower that you know sits in the middle of the woods, quite close to Nidum, very rarely visited by any living creature. And you are being called by a very familiar voice. And the voice is getting angrier and angrier, and you know that if you delay any further, this voice, in its anger, is going to be directed at you in a much more violent and painful way. You then snapped out of your sleep. There is a whisper of that voice from the wind, coming from the window of your room.
Which is just a cliff, isn't it?
Same voice.
Mm-hmm. I want you to roll me a wisdom saving throw.
Oof. Not my strong suit. I'm going to use one of my new dice.
Okay.
Wisdom save. 6.
6.
6 would have rolled better.
A small voice at the back of your mind cries out for you to investigate, for you to find out where the source of this threat, this fear is coming from. But your lids are heavy, your eyes close once more, and you sleep a dreamless sleep.
Interesting.
The rest of you wake. A cockerel crows. Many cockerels crow. The sun early, because it's still middle of summer. It's only been a couple of weeks since midsummer. It is about 5 a.m. There's a bright light outside. You all wake. Please bear in mind, obviously, especially with sepsis penchant, to barricade the room they're in. There are no rooms in this forest glade, just much more private, darker copses of trees around around a central clearing.
I'm like already awake, sat up against a tree and already smoking.
Okay.
I'm having my morning pipe, and I've got a cup of tea, and there's a pot ready for anyone else.
Oath is going to sort of come out from their glade, thrown on like a tunic, and gonna join Oriana for tea.
I think I'd established that I was sleeping under what looked like a hedge.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's right.
Oh,
You're under a shrub.
yeah. So I'm gonna pretty much just stay there, I think.
Okay. I'm going to sort of wander across, sit down, take some tea, and start attempting to brush my hair. It's a painful, slow, dramatic experience with much wincing and whimpering. Carry on.
Okay.
That's probably going to be easy to do when it's wet with some oil in it. You're just going to snap your hair if you keep.
Look, I washed all the hair dye out of it, mostly. It's a little darker than normal, but I just want it to be brushed.
At your speech, quiet though it is, you see that the babbling brook and small pool nearby that you've bathed in previously starts to steam and heat up, and two elegant glass kind of goblets, or pouring jugs, sorry, sit there now, glistening in a kind of rainbow display as the light hits them. You're pretty sure they're full of oil.
Hair oil, not engine oil.
Clear.
It looks like a good detangling oil. I go over and get the jug and just start pouring it into Dice's hair and start combing everything through.
Argon
Rinse
oil.
the oil out afterwards, but this is going to make it so much easier to brush through and help get some curl definition. Trust me, I've put my own hair through some bushes. I know how to detangle this mess.
Chronicles of Nidum brought
I
to
sort
you
of just
by
scratches.
Haircare Tips.
Yeah. Like Ace is just like scratching at the
The
messy undercut, just like.
Okay.
Through the bushes things was not dirty, you know, chasing after injured animals and all that jazz.
Sure, it wasn't dirty. I believe you. So
No, I tend to tie my hair up for that.
you've never gotten your hair tangled from being dragged through a bush, ever, for other reasons.
No. No.
Surprising.
Like I said, put it up in a bun.
I have. I had twigs in it for 3 days afterwards. I kept pulling them out. It was distressing.
Yeah, I know, I had to pull them out for you.
Thank you.
But I'm glad I now know how they got in there.
Oh yeah. It was a good night.
A small bell chimes, and on a raised a raised like trunk of a tree, cut down tree that's now overgrown on the sides with moss, that you didn't actually notice was there before in the centre of the room, is now a platter of some fruits, nuts.
Cold cuts.
A couple.
I try to get it. I'm going to assume Oriana doesn't let me, but
There are adventurous. There are various
Ace
clear.
just sort of looks at you and nods and is like,
There are
"I'll
very-
get you some."
Jugs of like incredibly cold but refreshing spring water as well.
Ace is gonna bring over to where they're sitting.
And I pick up the fruit and drink the water.
I eat like a pig while Ori's fixing my hair.
Okay.
It's like
Sepsis, you awake?
Like any bit of your hair that's been detangled is now being braided.
I'm awake, but I'm just lying on my back under the
It's like
hedge,
Okay.
not moving.
like a dead frog.
But,
What?
can I eat something?
I don't care.
Alright. And you feel his weight kind of leave you. And you hear like scurrying noises as he just makes his way across.
Does Worm appear, or...?
Worm?
He's invisible.
But we hear the scurrying.
No, Sepsis does.
Oh.
It's quite
We're going to
close to it.
see
He's
the food
laying
getting
on the ground.
picked at.
Roll a perception check.
I will. That's a stupid thing. I will roll.
15.
4. It went well. Oh, good, I'm back
6.
to normal.
Does Worm get advantage on stealth for being invisible?
Is he trying to stealth?
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, he gets advantage.
Still not going to do it. I think 14.
Okay.
Nope, I rolled 15.
Oriana, you do notice a few cold cuts being lifted from the table by an invisible hand and just kind of very quickly disappear as if being chewed by something very low to the ground.
If you're going to eat with us, could you please make yourself visible?
And Sepsis hears in his head, but you said invisible unless you said otherwise. Can I not be?
Fine.
And a small purple, I believe,
Blue.
imp appears in front of you with small demonic creatures.
He looks exactly like Disney's Hades.
What, Pain and Panic?
No, he looks like Hades, only an imp.
I would keep him.
That's the color palette
Okay.
we're going.
Whenever you describe him, I keep thinking of the Cornish pixies from Harry Potter.
Just with
No,
horns and more
Definitely
fangs.
looks like Hades.
But looks like Hades, small little flame coming from the top of his head.
Yeah, sure.
So that's,
See a Genesi now?
Hello.
so that's what you look like.
Most of the time, yeah.
You're kind of cute.
Aww. And he kind of sidles up to you and gives you a big hug.
Oh, I'm finished with Dice's hair now, so I just sit there petting him.
But does his fire hair burn?
No, it doesn't burn, but very slowly his arms start to kind of slide up your front.
Yeah, I just push them back down every time.
Have you made Sepsis is familiar a pervert?
Demon.
He's a hell. He's from hell.
Demon.
When you're done making friends, can I borrow your cloak for a few minutes? I promise I won't damage it. I just want to have a really close look at it.
Yeah, it's over there. It has got a burnt out incense stick on it. Probably
Alright.
should have put that out before I fell asleep.
You got blimmels in your cloak.
As you lift the cloak and wipe the ash away, you discover that there is no damage whatsoever to the cloak.
It's like you got away with it.
It must be tricky It must be tricky to find a cloak of elvenkind that's been casually discarded on the floor of what looks like a wood.
Yeah.
It makes a really good altar cloth.
That must be like that must be like looking for cargo netting in a cargo netting factory.
But yeah, it's as you especially as an artificer know, it's incredibly difficult to damage a magical item.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much. You're unlikely to cause it much damage.
I will keep using it as an altar cloth then.
All right. I look at you a bit weirdly. And what Dice does is she. Now I'm calling myself they. I've given up on pronouns. I'm so scared of getting the wrong one. I'm just going with they for everyone.
Everyone's they.
But she sits down and starts like writing all over. You know the fine cloak I got from, I don't know, the dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I start drawing all over it in black ink, like the elaborate. Something like Daniel. It was something nerdy. Yes. No offense to Daniels everywhere.
I'm sure it's Daniel.
Did you find Daniel to be a nerdy name?
So Dice sits there and starts writing all over it in these really elaborate sort of arcane symbols. And when she's finished, the whole thing flashes and a replica of Oriana's cloak appears in the same place.
Okay.
Copycat.
Hey, it looked useful.
We'll match.
Okay.
I give Ori.
So you
At this
now
point,
have.
I will roll out from under my hedge, and I just give the most incredibly disapproving look at Worm.
I hug Worm closer.
Worm kind of lets go.
I'm still holding on to Worm.
Knowing Sepsis's moods by now, Worm kind of lets go.
I just look at Ariana and I'm like, Tom, what are you doing? That's, you know that he's a demon.
Hi. Just sort of wave.
I mean, not descended from one,
Me.
a literal one.
Not the kind you'd make a deal with, though.
No, but the thing that looks
I could
like
make a deal.
What's the what sort of deal? If I get to touch Ariana's boob, I'll give you a boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really can't ever give him that opening.
I see that. I think that was a mistake on my part. My apologies, Ori.
Do we
I
have
don't
it?
think he can make any deals anyways.
Um,
I'm to Sepsis.
I'm pretty sure he can't as well. What are you doing?
what?
Well, you're a wholly owned subsidiary of Sepsis Enterprises. I don't think you should be making independent deals.
Yeah, but humans are dumb. No offense. It's like shoots a look at Ace and Dice. No offense.
Yeah, Ace takes great offence.
Yeah, but I don't think he means it as humans and dumbs at the same way elves do. I think he means it as being a hellish creature does.
Yeah, what she said.
It's a different kind of I don't know.
I wander past and tip oil on the imp's head as I go past to go and get some more food.
The flame on his head flares.
Aww.
That's cute.
What was that?
Oh dear lord. Maybe I should try water instead.
No.
Maybe you should try being a little nicer.
You need to wash the oil out of your hair, Dice.
Oh yeah.
Whoa, hey, is my hair out?
I go and wash my hair out in the bath with soap that I assume appears as if from nowhere.
Oh, you have some from the York.
The soap is already there.
I have really fancy soap and hair stuff. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But the soap is already there.
What, my soap?
It's a tiny little soap.
You don't use your own soap when you're in a hotel.
It's a tiny little soap, and it's wrapped in some kind of very thin parchment.
Complimentary, if you will.
Complimentary soap.
Wait, don't
That
use
reminds-
it.
That reminds me, we should steal some of these towels.
I was just going to say the same thing. Don't look for towels.
Do they have robes?
there are robes and towels and slippers.
I look at Pepsi and go, these towels are made of moss. I'm not sure I even want to take them.
Also, it's highly absorbent.
That's
I-
true.
Said it.
What's normal say?
Good for great bath mats.
You can use it for poultices.
Anyway, so are we going to say, what is this guy that we're supposed to be stealing his life? What's his name?
I don't know. I can't remember, but he lives across the road. We need to get this bottle of wine sent as a gift. And we need to get it poisoned.
Do you want to
No, we don't poison the wine that we're sending as a gift. That would be terrible, because then they'd be poisoned before we got invited there. The wine that we send as a gift is to get us invited through the door.
The wine
and
gets
then-
excited, you then poison the wine, steal all the stuff, and leave. That way it's
Poison.
the
We
guards.
poison him once you're inside.
Right. Well, we need to get this wine delivered as a gift then.
Yes.
I do not have the handwriting of a lady, so I just push everything towards dice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd say that's a safe choice there, because you've probably seen mine and Pa's writing on our receipts.
I've seen chicken scratch that's easier to read than my handwriting, so
Yeah. Aces and Pars are very much along the same lines as kind of ancient Nordic runes being chiseled into rock.
yeah.
Like a T
Just
is
like-
straight and down.
Ace holds their pen like this. An iron grip.
Oriana just can't be bothered. She gets halfway through the first word and it's like, ah.
handwriting.
Yeah.
Clint! What's this guy's name? Clint!
It's 5 o'clock in the morning, and from what you can work out, Clint's probably about half a mile away.
Oh, did he leave?
Yeah.
I thought Clint was staying because they were in the hotel. I've just gone with they for everyone. He was in the hotel the night before.
Mm-hmm. He's not here now.
He's gone.
Sepsis, what's the guy's name? Help me out here.
I don't have it written down.
Alright, Rich, can I make a history check to see if I remember what the guy's name is?
Yes.
Thanks. Okay, I should do. Yeah, it's 16.
This would be Councilman Culvar.
Kulvar.
Col-
That
Col-
doesn't ring any bells.
No, I was just thinking the same thing. I was just like, I don't know this man.
How are you spelling that?
Mm-hmm.
How are you spelling that?
I don't know, Kulvar.
Alright, so I will write, my dearest... Wait, what's his title? He had a title. We knew his title. We were told it.
Councilman.
Councilman.
I wanted something a little more personal than that, a little less formal.
Well, my dearest councilman would be.
Very weird. You can't do that. Okay.
It's formal and correct. I think they're not introduced,
it
they
needs
would
to be
use a
little bit
title.
formal.
All right.
Yeah.
In this case, I would say, dear Councilman Culver, I am writing on behalf of Lady Devona.
Devona.
It might be best to make it sound like it's coming directly from her.
My Devona. All right. Dear Councilman Culver, my name is Lady Devona. I'm visiting from the continent to this town, and I've heard you're a man of exquisite taste. I thought this bottle of wine is something you might appreciate.
Yeah,
I hope that we can meet
sometime.
I'm interested to get to know you.
Yes. Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right, and I'll write it out as beautifully as I can and make it really pretty. You're gonna make me roll a dex check, aren't you?
I'm gonna make you roll a
Calligraphy tools?
calligraphy tools, so you get your proficiency bonus as well.
I get double my proficiency bonus.
Oof. That's a heck of a move for expertise.
Thanks. I'm pretty sure I do anyway. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's a new thing. It is tool expertise. Your proficiency bonus is double for any ability check you make that uses your proficiency with a tool.
Okay.
Nice.
So
Is
it's
that an artificer thing?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
So it's a sorry. So what check am I doing?
Yeah, dexterity.
It would be a dex check, yeah?
Yeah.
I'd assume it would be Dex plus double
Plus your
proficiency.
double proficiency.
19, 20, 21.
21. It is a beautifully written out letter. The letters almost pop off the page. There is a depth and detail to them that you've never seen in your work before and may never see again. You are very, very happy with what you've done.
Ori, look, I made it pretty.
That's very pretty.
Thank you. And I fold it
How
up.
do you learn to write like that?
I used to write all the labels in the shop, and I got more elaborate with it over time. The gnomes are surprisingly picky. And I fold up the
I
letter.
think
and put
Dice
it
sort
in
of paid attention in class as well.
Ace just sort of remembers the like gnomish customers that used to come into the smith.
Be precisely 1.5 millimeters wide in the teeth. 1.5. Give me a second. I'll go down and ask the receptionist to arrange delivery.
Yeah, that could work.
It's not something you would do, so it makes sense for me.
Okay.
And I put on my disguised self as the tiefling who came in with Oriana,
Okay.
and I upstairs.
The receptionist is laying there on a bed of flower petals, leaves, and grass. Practically naked, very, very incredibly sheer dress on, kind of laying there, hair all splayed in the thing, in the grass. Like some kind of goddess that you've just found sleeping in a beautiful wooden glade. Eyes closed.
Excuse me?
Yes, how can I help you?
I don't know. You seem quite happy here. Is there someone else getting a parcel delivered?
No, I can arrange.
This seems like a pleasant job.
Quite so. Where would you like the parcel sent?
Councilman Culver?
Ah, not far then.
No.
When would you like it delivered by?
As soon as possible, if we can. But not until at least 9 o'clock in the morning, because I don't want to disturb anyone at 5 a.m. Apart from you, obviously.
Oh, I tend to nap.
Yeah.
Of course, yes. Leave it there.
Is there a cost associated with this delivery?
No, it's complimentary with the room.
And you will ensure that it gets there. Forgive me for... Lady Devona is quite precise, exacting, as a mistress.
She sits bolt upright and glares straight at you. Just let me see if I've got this right, shall we? Small package to be delivered 50 feet away across the road to Councilman Culver.
Yes,
Are you
but-
happy that I have remembered the intricate details of your job for me?
Well, forgive me if you did seem like you were half asleep. I wanted to ensure you were actually paying attention. It's a little hard to tell sometimes.
Oh, of course. And she lays back down and closes her eyes.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And I just drift away. Go back to the
I'm
stairs.
so glad Dice did that and not Oriana.
I get back in the room and I go, Ori, the receptionist is psychotic.
In what way?
And I describe the whole thing. I'm not going to do it because it takes too long.
I'm a little surprised. I'm a little surprised that you weren't thrown into a dungeon for disrespecting an elf.
Maybe she shouldn't be such a bitch.
Maybe she should have better customer service.
Yes, but you're a human. I don't know what you're allowed to expect from them.
Dice currently looks like a tiefling.
Tiefling. Oh my god. My bad, rather.
I'm not stupid.
No, my bad. All you fleshy people look the same to me.
What are you made of? Chitin?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Yeah.
Hessian sack.
Flesh, same as everyone else.
What colour? Yellowish green, wasn't it? You said, Ori?
Oh my
Yeah,
god, Karen, you can't just ask people what colour they are.
I mean, for some of us, it changes on the daily.
Hey. Oh, you
That's
mean?
only with
I mean, me.
chaotic magic that you have.
Yeah.
There are lots of ways that people can get cursed.
Reg, I have a question.
Go for it.
The cloak of Elvenkind that I've made, is there any way I could have made it so it still looked like a standard fine cloak on the outside, but looked like a cloak of Elvenkind on the inside?
No.
Reversible.
Should be able to.
Don't get me wrong, even Oriana's just looks like a
Green
very
cloak.
finely made green cloak.
Okay.
There's no difference. You've seen many, many finely made green cloaks. The major difference in these cloaks, which you worked out as you were studying it to try and make your own, is that once the hood goes up, that's when the magic happens. That's
They're
when you
exact-
become...
They're exactly the cloaks from Lord of the Rings that the elves give to the
They're just
Oh,
normal...
you're muted, mate.
Yeah, they're just normal, finely made green cloaks. And as soon as the hood goes up, it makes you very difficult to notice.
Right, that's fine. I just wanted to see if I could make it really boring on the outside.
Did no one tweet that we'd gone live?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
Why?
Secret live. Secret stream.
I went to retweet it and I was like, oh,
On
On
the
the
Twitch
Twitch
channel.
only for us, no one else, and Shane.
Yeah.
Shane exclusive.
And also Sergio if he's here.
Did you say Sergio?
Sergio.
That's
Fair
actually
enough.
a fair few people in the server chat.
Also, I saw earlier that we have 69 followers, and I just want to say nice.
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 Okay.
Oh.
I realise if we hit 70, I'm unfollowing.
Don't you dare.
Just to keep the 69.
Nice.
Yeah, Ariana's gonna eat some breakfast, drink some water, and then go back to like meditating, just trying to center herself,
I want to
get
see.
high.
I want to check Cedric for any errors, any parts that aren't working correctly. Go over all my armor, things an artificer might do.
Ace is going to go over their armor, sharpen anything that needs sharpening.
Mm-hmm.
Take a small, one of the smaller blades and sort of trim at the ends of their hair,
Okay.
because they've been made to feel conscious.
Sepsis is going to sort of surreptitiously look out the window to see if they can see anything unusual out there.
Okay. Make a perception check.
Oh yeah. I can't even read that. That's a 2, Mr. Bryant.
That's a 2. There's a street
Yeah.
over there.
good.
Apart from that, nothing really out of place.
Okay. I'm going to ask Worm to I'm going to instruct Worm to turn into a raven
Mm-hmm.
and go fly over Culver's estate, scope it out, see if we can see anything that might be of use to us.
Like what, boss?
Hidden ways in, gaps in guard patrols. Anything that might make it easier for us to sneak in or out.
I can make some gaps in the guard patrols. And he kind of clicks his claws together.
I sincerely doubt it.
Oh.
No.
All I want for now is information, Worm.
Alright. How long for?
I'll be watching through your eyes. I'll let you know when I've seen enough.
Very well. Yes, boss. Right away, boss. And you see him turn into a raven, and he flaps out the window.
Cool.
Ari's got her cards out.
So I'm gonna do the thing of like just sitting cross-legged and watching through Worm's eyes.
You see then quite a large estate. As I said, there is a long, very tall boundary wall stretching almost 150 feet on each side. The keep inside it then is about 25 feet away from the wall. A large open space between the wall and the main building, the main mansion. There is a very ornate garden, a hedge maze in one area, and a kind of water or fountain centerpiece in the other. The manse itself is a block building. The roofs are very shallow. They're not. They don't taper up very harshly. They're almost flat, and you can see that there are guards patrolling, walking along the roof. There are guards stationed every 20 feet or so along the wall, and there are guards walking the perimeter and walking the garden. There are a lot of human slaves currently out, collared and very they're not wearing rags, but it's very understated, very mute, drab clothing, and they are currently pruning the garden, ready for when their master wakes and looks out over his domain to make sure it's perfect. And there are quite a few windows, very few on the ground floor, but a lot on the second floor. There are only 2 floors to the building anyway. It's just these floors seem to be about 20 to 30 feet high anyway. It's very high ceilings in all of these rooms. And make an investigation check.
That's not gonna be good.
My stats or Worm stats?
Just Sepsis' stats, because you're the one looking.
Yeah. Okay. Investigation. 18.
18.
18.
There is a main entrance, which is a huge, almost 20-foot wide double door, 20-foot wide, 30 feet high double door on the ground floor, above which is a large balcony that hangs over the stairs leading up to the double door on the ground floor. You can see that there are a few tables, maybe 8 chairs, laid out on the balcony for entertaining. There's a large glass door then that opens onto this balcony. That's on the front of the building. On the rear of the building, overlooking the hedge maze, there is no balcony, but there is a large double door leading out again to the garden, where on the ground floor there are much more concrete marble chairs and benches, benches and tables, sorry, leading or just at the beginning of the hedge maze. There is also a small door then built into the side, which is very drab and understated, but it's also out of the way, kind of hid behind a hedge. You can imagine that this is for servants to come in and out. As you're watching this door, a lot of servants do come back from the garden, kind of take off their shoes outside, take off their drab clothing, so they're almost practically naked in the street, and then step through, and you can just see them start to put robes on for the inside of the house.
This door is in the house, right? Not the wall.
No, this door is in the house. That door, however, did not seem to be locked when they entered.
Okay. the hedge maze, does
Mhm.
it extend close to the walls?
The hedge maze extends all the way to the what appears to be rear gate into the compound. The rear gate, in fact, appearing to be at least one of the entrances into the hedge maze. Perhaps a jolly, kind of fun way of exiting the property.
So the hedge maze abuts the rear wall of the compound. Does it touch any of the side walls, or is it just
It does. It's almost the entire rear half of the ground floor compound outside the property.
So it reaches both side walls and the rear wall,
Mm-hmm.
basically. Interesting. Actually useful. Sorry if the click-clack was very loud, by the way, guys.
That's fine.
I have... The clackiest keyboard is best keyboard, and no one will ever convince me otherwise.
I agree with you.
You gotta have the click-clacks.
Gotta have a good keyboard.
Yep. Okay, I think that's enough information. I'll get Worm. I shall retrieve Worm from his
Okay.
investigation.
I just want to quickly. This is going to be so haphazard.
Why? What you doing?
Hmm.
What you
What you
doing?
doing?
I will show you now in a moment.
Right, quick question.
You.
How thick are the walls?
The
Are they
walls.
dummy thick?
Two C's or three C's?
The walls are about. Where am I getting an echo from?
Yeah, I'm getting an echo as well.
Yeah, I just
Shouldn't
had
be from me.
Yeah.
Seems to have stopped.
Okay. Okay. So, basically, this is such a bad map.
It's mine doing weird things. Give me 2 seconds. I'll come back in.
That's what you saw.
Right. Okay.
That's the hedge maze at the rear of the property. That's the
Yep.
main part of the property. That's the balcony at the front. Those are the fountains with a much more picturesque garden. Those are the two gates.
Could you send me that? Could you send me that image?
Yeah.
And how thick are the walls?
The walls are just over 5 feet thick.
Okay.
There are thin stairs leading up to them on the insides of the walls at regular intervals all the way around, apart from the hedge maze. And they're thick enough basically for an individual to walk along them comfortably without fearing he's going to fall either in or out of the property.
Did Sepsis via Worm see any guards patrolling the maze?
There were no guards in the maze,
Okay.
but there were guards on the wall surrounding the maze.
That's fine. It's all good to know.
Mm-hmm.
So what you were saying, Bri, is that the wall was thick with 2 C's, not 3 C's.
Just the two, not the three.
I think
Yeah.
that's 1C. I think a 5 foot thick wall is a 1C situation. You know, for a wall around a compound.
Yeah.
That would be a dummy thick wall in a house.
Yeah. That would be my old house.
that would be you ain't getting no phone signal.
That's a fucking castle. But
My
the
grandparents' house.
I don't think the walls in your grandparents' house are 5 foot thick, babe. That's a short person wide.
That wall's not far off.
It is. If it's 2 foot thick, that would be pretty fucking thick.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's enough. That's enough from me. I'm satisfied.
I am satisfied.
Okay. While this was happening then, the full investigation took Sepsis and Womb about 20 minutes. What were the rest of you doing?
Ariana consulted the cards.
You being
Look at you and your
extra.
fucking fancy drink.
Yeah.
Putting your vape in your cup. Was vaping not enough? Did you have to ingest it as well?
Yeah. So, you... Hang on. I need
Brett,
to...
I'm not on the stream.
You will be in a second. So, you've done a card reading. What did you find out?
The cards are creepy.
Okay. What have you got?
So the first card drawn was the Chariot reversed, which usually means an opposition and a lack of direction. It usually means you just stop going ahead with what you were going to do.
Like,
Second card was the Emperor upright, which is an authoritative and father figure, but can also mean a struggle with power and an overuse of power.
Okay.
And struggling to see an outcome with a plan.
Okay.
And then the last one was the Star reversed, which is the one that freaked me out because it's a lack of faith, a despair, and a disconnection, losing your religion and losing your trust in the world.
Okay.
Ooh. That's me in the corner.
Yeah.
So Ariana is now sat staring at the cards, just
Losing my
blankly looking
religion.
like, yeah, fuck.
The cards this time obviously have spoken to you about recent events and exactly how you feel currently.
Oh shit.
Don't think we need to give any more insight than that, really.
No, they were pretty spot on. Why are your cards so creepy? They keep
Who
getting
could-
everything so like spot on.
Who
every
could
time.
who could the father figure be?
I read Greg was doing his thing and I just saw father figure and went, well, fuck.
Well.
Okay. And ace and dice.
Ace was continuing with their homemade knife haircut.
Okay.
Like trying to do
Yeah.
it.
does that look like it's coming, Bri?
Hmm?
Ace's knife haircut, how's that going?
This is not the first time that either Ace has taken over the haircutting skills of Papa and done it themselves. So yeah, actually, it's coming along quite well.
Yeah.
There's
So,
no
like,
there's,
cutting your own
it's
hair
like-
for the first time is very relatable content
Yeah.
to a lot of people right now.
Yeah.
yeah. There's no one you should trust more to shave your head quite close with a very sharp implement than yourself.
It's
So
true.
Ace using the reflective surface of their very polished armor pieces does a pretty good job of
Can I just
cutting
say,
their hair.
when Charlie shaved my head, she did an excellent job, and when I shaved my own head with a razor, I cut my head very, very badly. So I don't agree with your.
You
with
get
your
used to
assessment.
it. You get used to it.
I've got an electric thing now.
I used to shave my own head every time because £5 for a haircut was a pack of cigarettes.
Teenage Bri, right there.
The-
Teenage.
Yeah. I wasn't teenage.
I read more into it, and apparently Reversed Emperor can sometimes the Reversed Emperor asks you to stand up to authority.
Hmm?
Culver is authority.
Which authority are you standing up to? So,
The DM.
And
as
apparently the cards will tell me.
as your morning progresses, there is a small knock on wood, and you do see from the darkened space between two trees that you know now to be the entrance portal to the room, standing there, looking quite sprightly, quite awake, munching on what appears to be a bacon sandwich, is Clint.
When I heard the knock on the door and saw that someone was coming in,
He's just kind of knocking on a tree.
yeah, I'm standing up with my crossbow pointed at the door.
Ace has very quickly put their collar on. Just like,
Oriana glances up from her cards, just morning, and then looks back down at the cards.
This is a welcome I'm used to. having crossbows pointed at
Sorry.
them. No, it's fine. It's fine. I wouldn't expect anything less. It's good to know that you're alert, I suppose. I've a weird question. Do I look like a post boy?
No.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I've never seen a post boy, so.
You're a human boy. You could be mistaken for anything.
I mean, a little bit.
Oh, no, the elf woman downstairs tried to accost me to get her to take a package somewhere.
Well, when we first met you were we thought you were a bar person, so maybe you just have one of those faces.
I was a bad person.
Briefly.
You work to your advantage. You blend in anyway.
You say briefly. I worked there for about 3 months before you guys turned up.
Sorry
That's
about
a
that.
brief job.
Oh, it's fine. It was a terrible job.
Yes, I mean, I'm not sure that you were working there so much as you were using it as a base of operations to rob drunk people, but sure, you define it how you like.
That's like working.
Is that not
Just
what...
maybe not the job that he was.
Is that not what
showing
all
as.
bar staff do? Rob drunk people?
A little philosopher, are you?
Well, no. No, my friend. Surely you do not want to go home without trying another one of my wonderful real ales from the north. Is normally,
I don't. One of the only taverns in Nidum had it cut off. When they thought you had too much, you went home.
I never went to that tavern.
I did.
I never went to any tavern.
Oh no,
That's the tavern I always went to.
I have been sent to see how goes your planning.
Well, that parcel you were asked to deliver was probably the bottle of wine for Farquaad.
Cover.
Not fun.
I did fetch a messenger boy from the street to deliver it, so I'm sure it will still get there.
You
We're
know what?
working
I just
on-
would have done that myself.
We're working on getting an invitation for Lady Devona here.
Okay, and the entourage as well, or?
Well, a highborn lady would hardly go a calling without her servants, hangers-on.
Absolutely.
Very well. Remember though, Lady Devona was not actually highborn, she just married into wealth and took to it quite well once she was very quickly widowed.
Doesn't
A
mean
lady
that
who
she
thinks
can't
of
act like
herself
it.
as highborn.
Yes, I suppose. And if that doesn't work?
Well, then we'll
We
come
set
up.
the house on fire.
There's
Ace just sort of like slowly turns to look at Oriana.
I've been
Like,
I've
I
been
didn't
doing
know
it.
about that plan.
That's plan B or F.
I've been doing a little reconnaissance, and there is a hedge maze inside the grounds that extends all the way up to the walls and to the rear gate.
At the mention of the hedge maze, Clint shudders.
It's not bad, eh?
I know all about the hedge maze, yes.
Seems
Oh,
like
let me
you know
guess,
something
it's
we don't.
enchanted first, or
No,
it's got some sort of beast living in it.
some of the human girls are sometimes invited to parties for Culver and his wealthy friends, and they like to have sport with them in the hedge maze involving crossbows and other ranged weapons.
Gross.
Well, on a night when such a party is not happening, it seems to me like a hedge maze that abuts your walls is a security flaw, first and foremost. If we were able to find a way through the gate or over the wall, we could be hidden very quickly.
I might know someone who's survived the maze and knows a way back through.
Is the rear gate? This is something I forgot to ask at the time. Is it like big wooden plank construction, or is it like a sort of wrought iron thing? My question is, could I see through it?
The front gate is wrought iron, incredibly beautifully made. There's depictions of elven victories that you have no knowledge of, kind of twisted in the metal in it in such a way that it almost moves. The rear gate is a solid wood construction, dark wood, painted and varnished, can be opened. However, there is also a small kind of postern gate for just an individual to pass through easily, built into it.
Yeah. Is there like a keyhole or anything I could see through?
With your investigation check from the distance he was getting, you can imagine there would be. There were metal panels on the wall. You couldn't really tell from that distance, but yeah.
Because I only needed to be able to see, and then I could misty step through. Is the reason I ask.
Okay. There was a small, I suppose, peephole in the rear gate.
Yeah. There is a potential bit of a fiddle I could do where if I was seeing through Worm's eyes, then obviously I could see on the other side, and just that might allow me to misty step through. I don't know. That would be up to you. Obviously.
What's the range on misty step?
30 feet.
Yeah.
But you have it. But it's 30 feet to a point that you can see.
Okay.
So I can certainly misty step inside the maze, but only to a point that I can see inside the maze.
Very well.
And once you're in the maze, couldn't Worm just hover above and give directions?
Yes.
Save exposing some poor girl to the trauma of going back in there.
Yeah, I don't think it would be something that she'd be very forthcoming about doing.
It's interesting. How many guards did you say there were?
They were a lot. They were posted every 20 feet along the walls.
It's not so much the getting in I'm concerned about. It's the looking out again afterwards.
Well, again, the hedge maze may provide that answer.
That's what I was thinking. It's not the in, it's the out.
Yes. I mean, I was thinking that perhaps some of us could go in with Lady Devona, and others could approach a little bit more stealthily through the maze.
All right.
Was my thought.
To be positioned where to accomplish what?
Well, if we could achieve some or all of what we want to accomplish without burning our good lady's cover, then it exposes us to less risk.
That's true.
Perhaps while Lady Devona is in the house, it could be assailed by some sort of ne'er-do-wells, burglars, or representatives of a rival faction.
What, and get driven off by the guards without getting arrested?
No, I was thinking that they would take the lady and the councilman both hostage, perhaps knock them both out, and then we would all be in the house.
Yeah.
No, but I get where Sepsis is going with this, actually.
Yes, but the councilman would believe that both of you had been anesthetized.
The only problem is, Ace, you'd have to do this without your armor. We would have to be the sneaky steakies.
Well, Ace could be.
Does the cap not cover? I guess the cap doesn't stop the sound of the armor.
No, and it doesn't stop any hindrance I get from it.
Wait. But
maybe Ace would make the most sense to go in as my lady's bodyguard.
Yeah.
And I take
That's what I would have suggested.
That actually makes more sense as well, because with sepsis we can use worm to get through the maze.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's smart. I like that idea.
And if Clint goes with Clint, are you coming with us?
If you require my services, I could.
Who would you prefer to go with?
I'm more of a.
Clint's skills seem like they may be more suited to our mission.
I'm more of a behind-the-scenes kind of guy.
Sneaky
Okay.
stealthy.
Well, all this hangs on if we get that invite.
It does.
I guess all we can do is wait. Messengers in this regard they normally wait around, so perhaps you'll have a reply today.
Clint, does Councilman Culver have any enemies here in the city? Any rival councilmen or nobles that he may have pissed off?
A few. Less in the Elven districts, however, more so with various merchants and especially the warehousemen, the traders. The Traders Guild hate him.
The
Yes.
Traders Guild, but they are of use to the city, are they not?
They are.
I'm just thinking we need to ideally pin it on someone who is equally as unpleasant as Councilman Culver.
Well, he
Too bad.
is. He's nominally, I suppose, in charge of law enforcement in the city, which means that the Thieves Guild, and he makes the air quotes as he says Thieves Guild, are known to have it in for him. At least that's what we've led everyone to believe.
If we put it on the Thieves Guild, that doesn't look much better, though.
They haven't caught us yet.
It was just a thought that we could drop something or leave something incriminating against another party entirely.
I was thinking that
Well, if they can't tie it back to us, it doesn't really matter.
I was thinking that perhaps we could just flat out say we were associated with someone. We could surprise Culver and Lady Devona, perhaps while they're out walking in the grounds, and claim to be representatives of some faction that has reason to harm him.
But how then would we get into the house and find what we're looking for?
I was going to say, if they're out walking, surely that defeats the purpose, but to find them in the house together, perhaps, I don't know.
Either
Is
way,
there a balcony?
Yes.
Patio area.
there is an extremely extensive balcony above the front door, but I believe it is overlooked by many of the guards.
Also,
Or the patio out the back.
The back door, I believe, leads straight into a hedge maze.
No, there is a patio with
There is a patio.
marble benches and tables.
Sorry,
And then
yeah.
there's a hedge maze.
Okay. Yes, there is a patio.
how would we then administer the poison, though, if we declared ourselves first? We can't...
I mean,
Is it something that could be put on a rag?
No, but what we could do, sepsis can make people fall asleep. We've seen this happen before. So sepsis puts
True.
you and the councilman to sleep. We administer the poison to the councilman. We wake you up. We do the job.
I believe that Oriana is too strong of will to be put to sleep by my meager spells.
That's what I mean. She can act it.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you don't actually have to cast it on me.
It would require me to place it rather carefully, and it would be it's a risk. If
Is there a way to wake me if I did fall asleep?
yes, it just
Well,
shake you
wake
awake.
Me up.
It wouldn't, if you got caught in it. It wouldn't put you to sleep anyway. But it's a risk, because if the councilman is too hearty, it won't have any effect on him. We will have given away our intention.
But if I've gotten him to drink
Will he
some
know?
wine first, I mean that wine has opiates in it.
Yes. I'm trying to think. I have some poison coming from our new friend, the alchemist, but it's poison that has to be consumed.
It would be easy enough to tip it down his throat once he was asleep, though.
Yeah.
If it was
Well,
not possible to make him go to sleep, then I will knock him out.
The effect of the poison is to make him go to sleep.
Is it a more deep sleep than the spell could do, though?
Yes, it will be. It should last pretty much all night.
So it would be easy enough, and the next day the Lady Oriana wakes up, Councilman Kolva going, Kolva, something terrible has happened. Oh no!
I have a pretty funny idea. Have any of you seen the play The Princess Bride?
No.
I have not.
Or could I have been kidnapped?
Possibly.
If you're kidnapped, though, it leads to a
You'd
chase
have to-
afterwards.
You'd have to never be spotted again.
If you wake up with him, then you're at no risk, and you leave the town because it was too distressing.
There's no way for a lady to be treated. I'm sure they wouldn't take much of
They
you
would have-
leaving after it.
Yeah.
They would have failed in their
Perfectly
duty
reasonable.
to protect you as a guest.
Exactly.
Um,
And I can always look like someone else next time.
Yeah.
I have seen the game, the play that you're talking about. So you're talking about the game with the cups?
yes.
One is poisoned, one is not.
Yes.
To get him to play that game, though, he could just scream for the guards and then...
Yes, I mean, someone may have a knife to his throat at the time.
Pick a cup, you bastard. Why don't we just knock him out and then force feed him the liquid? It's much simpler. That's not my accent.
It's
Not my voice.
It
It's
would
an
be-
accent.
it would be funnier the way I'm suggesting. That's the only reason.
I'm not
No.
sure it's the most practical solution.
Agreed. It would be easiest if Ariana was able to administer the poison herself.
Rich, stop showing off your biceps. Yes, it
wasn't,
would.
I was stretching.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing now? Because that's terrifying.
You body shame me, so
When will this poison be ready?
You're pretty.
This sleeping draft.
Later today.
All right. I think this sounds like the basis of a solid plan. We break
So
it.
some way for me to get him to take it?
If Ariana was the one to administer the poison, after we've had our wicked way with his house and belongings, perhaps Ariana could also willingly ingest the poison and then
Sleep
wake
it
up
next day.
shortly after him. It is, I'm told, fairly safe. It would induce unconsciousness for a
I'd rather
reasonably
pretend.
prolonged period.
You'd prefer to pretend. There is no harm in the pretense.
Well, only that it may be easier to persuade someone that the effects are real if you're also feeling them.
True.
Yeah.
I don't know
as
if
long
it
as-
causes a headache or stomach
I do
cramps.
have-
And
A question about my role in this. If I'm meant to be her bodyguard and I allow for this to happen, what happens?
I mean, you're not a food taster or a vizier. You're simply protecting her from physical attack.
You
I
could
don't
have
think
been
you'd be expected to
overpowered by
prevent.
it.
But Ace means if we were to break in and to confront the gentleman. But you're right, this is the simplest solution, is that the potion is ingested, the house is robbed, Oriana then passes out
Perhaps.
too.
Yeah.
Perhaps they find Ace tied up.
Yeah.
That's making it even more likely that someone else came in and did the job. The simple solution. You could also use your hat, I think, to make you look significantly weedier than you are.
That's
Well,
true.
It would be unlikely that they would be chosen as a bodyguard, but Ace could go in as a servant instead.
That's true. I
Servant.
could go.
The only problem with that is that any physical investigation would reveal armor and weaponry.
Yeah, you would clink as well when you walk. You're not the quietest walker.
No,
No.
I think a personal
think-
bodyguard, but being overpowered by a group of people is not,
Yes.
unheard of.
I don't-
Especially when taken by surprise.
Keep in mind,
Exactly.
it would then be down to Ace to lie.
This is the thing I'm concerned about.
If you're going to do that, Sepsis should go in as your human servant. Ace, I'm sorry, but it's not.
That relies on Ace then to sneak.
No. The sneaking is removed entirely. Me and Ace stay out of the way. As much as I would prefer to be involved. You and Oriana pull off the job. We see how it goes.
And maybe we could be let in.
We come in as human servants of Oriana, you come in as another human servant. I don't know, something like that, rather than relying on Ace to sneak, because Ace jingles like my purse.
Not much at the moment.
Purse, not puss.
Yeah, Ace jingles like my purse. My purse jingles all the time.
It's a lot of piercings.
I put a little bell on it.
Right, so is Sepsis coming in with me now?
It was just a suggestion that Sepsis comes in with you, because in the event
Ace, if you were my bodyguard and you were overpowered, why would you have to lie?
because Ace would have to say who overpowered them.
Yeah.
You could say, though, that you were overpowered by 2 potential members of the Thieves Guild. That's true.
It's still.
You were overpowered by 2 people. You didn't see them.
I think you realise it's still dishonest because
Yeah.
Ace knows it's us, and saying, "Oh, it was just 2 people. I didn't see who they were." That's not going to work. I don't think you can. I don't think you can get out of the lie on the technicality.
Ace is a very honest person. It's tricky.
I think you're right. I think perhaps I should go in as Lady Devona's servant, and perhaps Worm can let Dice. And
Do you want me to start? Ace could come in without armor. I know it's not.
I can come in without armor, or I could come in
Yes.
with armor and use. My words are failing me right now.
you would have.
What is the teleportation thing?
Misty
I
Step.
actually have another
Misty
suggestion.
Step, yeah.
You would have both Worm and Clint to guide you through the maze.
That's
That's
what
That's
is-
true.
Ori, what if I
Yeah.
suggested that you lend Ace your cloak? I know
I mean, that won't cover the sound of.
No, but if Ace left their armor off and wore the cloak,
they would be as silent as I would.
significantly sneakier.
Significantly. And you have no reason to need to hide during this endeavour.
No, take my cloak. It's still on the floor somewhere.
And my axe. I mean, no.
Don't burn it, don't step on it, don't get into it. Oh wait, Ori's already done that. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't burn it, it
Ori's
was fine.
done.
You tried. Okay, so
I fell asleep and left the incense burning.
Ori goes in with Sepsis. Me, you, and Clint, we sneak through the maze. We attack Ori, Sepsis, and Lord Councilman Kolvar. What is
Kolvar.
me?
Culver.
Kolvar. Why can't I remember this man's name?
Well, you can't remember Lady Devona's name, and that's been her name for 3 sessions.
I'm not good at this subterfuge thing. I'm learning, okay? It's a process.
Well,
Okay.
anyway, we can't do anything now until 1, we have the poison, and 2, we get an invite.
Let's wait then.
That's true.
Yes.
It's a solid plan, I think.
Sepsis, do you need to pick up the poison, or is it being delivered here?
I will need to pick it up.
I'll go with you.
Oh god.
You wish to meet Alikaz?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's perhaps as there is nothing else I suppose to do but wait. You should all meet someone you may prospectively be working with eventually.
I'm
Yeah.
happy to meet them. Him. I'm happy to meet him.
Needless to say, I've got some questions. I'm sure we all have.
Yes. It seems like an excellent idea.
Look, once upon a time, we were the children being smuggled out.
I don't think that I was.
Well, I definitely was.
I have no idea.
Me too.
I mean, if anyone in this area over the last 50 years would know whether you had been one of those children, then it would be Alikaz.
Alikaz did mention something that you might be interested in. You might want to ask him about. He said that he'd seen one of the elven children raised to adulthood.
Which elf?
I have no idea.
No, I know. Well, maybe we should go. What time is it? I look at my watch.
It's, with all the planning and the reconnaissance done, it's now about, say, 6:30.
He's a
In the
busy, so
afternoon.
be awake by now.
Oh, in the morning, right?
What time does shops open, bro?
Well, normally, all of the shops in this city open much later than this. However, we do tend to do business with Alikaz this early, so you never know, you might be awake.
Right, well, let's go.
Yes.
Okay. And you all get dressed, prepare, and make your way out of the hotel. These streets are quiet, but quiet in that there are also very few guards about. You can see a few humans kind of street sweeping, picking up litter, a few early morning messages running about. There are no urchins to speak of, but you
Right.
can tell, yeah.
Didn't you say that Alikaz would have the potion done later that day?
Yeah, but he didn't return.
But he didn't return?
Sepsis.
Later yesterday.
Oh, sorry, I'm with you. Okay, carry on.
You know, of course, that most of the street urchins, as they're employed by the Freedom Guild, are currently either waking up or having breakfast ready for their jobs later on. And you make your way quickly through the streets. You get to a quiet marketplace. There are still, you can hear off in the distance, quite a lot of loud animal noises. They are awake and ready for the day as the sun has come up. And you can hear lots of shouted voices trying to quiet them down. But with Sepsis and Clint's direction, you eventually get to the three shops. Roll me a perception check while you're approaching the area of the marketplace.
Is that anyone who cares?
No, everyone, I suppose, if you want to.
5.
4.
1.
Cool.
And Sepsis is knitting.
Sepsis, no?
No, I'm perfectly aware of what's going on. I don't roll perception checks.
Clint stops you from walking out from behind two tents and puts his finger to his mouth. And as you peer around the corner in the direction that he's pointing, Sepsis immediately knows something is amiss. The rest of you, quite confused, as a large contingent of guards are standing outside Alikaz's shop, hammering on the door.
Can we hear if they're saying anything to him? Calling him out?
I will tell you in about 15 to 20 minutes, as we're coming up on 9 o'clock, so we're going to take a break here. And
That's nice.
How dare you?
everyone's gonna go get. I suppose I'm gonna go make Amelia a cup of tea anyway. I don't know what everyone else is gonna do. But yeah,
Go
we
get
will be
some
back
tea.
in about 15 to 20 minutes. So please stay tuned.
No.
Hello and welcome back to part 2. You've got a weird colour, Chop.
Yeah, I
welcome
did that
back.
before we came back.
Oh, okay. Welcome back
Charlie used the sky self.
to part 2 of session 21 of the Chronicles of Nidum. Just before we broke for tea,
I got coffee actually.
you came around the corner of the marketplace to be presented with a troop of guards in front of Alakaz's apothecary, and they were hammering on the door, waiting for a response.
What the hell is going on?
How many guards are there?
There are about 20.
Fuck.
Sorry, my teacup's in the background.
Roll a perception check for me. Anyone? Oh, well, actually, Sepsis and Oriana, roll a perception check for me.
Why can't I roll a perception check?
7.
18.
18. Oriana, as you were scoping the place last night with Worm, trying to find the captain of the guard, quite a few of the guards in here now were present in the bar last night. And you can deduce from that they were very probably on shift with him. And if you remember, Sepsis did mention that he was going to drink with his colleagues or his men. These would appear to be his men. And not one of them looks like they've slept. They all look very angry. The captain is not there.
Shock. I should fucking well hope not.
I recommend not turning into your Durgar. Shit.
Do you look sufficiently different from last night?
I mean, even if I didn't, I left before anything.
Yeah, but you don't want to draw any suspicion. Perhaps the pinky tiefling would do for now. I make sure I collar on. Like, am I actually wearing this? Yeah, I'm cool. Okay. Just a
We
thought.
need to, they obviously think that he had something to do with this, which he did. But we need to get them away from him.
Or Sepsis could perhaps provide him with an alibi.
Yes.
Is there any sign of Alakaz moving or answering the door or anything like that happening?
As you look back towards the shop, the door does open. But before you catch a glimpse of Alakaz, guards rush inside until there are no more than 3 left outside, guarding the entrance to the shop. The rest of them have rushed in.
Right, how high up is the rooftop lab?
The rooftop terrace, you know, is there.
Yeah.
It would be about 3 stories up. So maybe
is how-
about 50 feet.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
The buildings on either side of it are maybe about 30 feet tall.
We need to act fast.
I don't know
They're
how
going
to.
to drag him away and pin this on him. And we need him.
So we go in and we go back and complain about some products that we bought around the time that we went in. Someone who's stupid dies.
Or it's an alchemist. We could be going in to buy something.
At 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, we could be adventurers for all they know.
Yeah, but no one opens at 6 a.m. There's no reason to believe that this alchemist would be open.
We need to act fast. I can get myself up to the rooftop of the adjoining building.
So can I help?
I don't know. We can get in without having to pass the guards at the front door, or we could try the direct approach.
Maybe in this instance, the direct approach. A pissed off noblewoman who feels that the products she bought were inferior to what she required might be.
We might not want to tie a noble woman to this place right now.
No.
It doesn't have to be a pissed off noblewoman. Perhaps I could be a tradesman of some sort.
Tradesman would come at this time in the morning.
And an alibi would make more sense than trying to steal him away from the guard. That's not going to help.
Right. That we've spent as much time as we have discussing.
You need to go in and turn yourself into something that's not recognizable and start going on about how you had a great time with him last night.
I'm going to change myself into a deep gnome.
Okay.
I'll look like a merchant type.
Okay.
And I'll start approaching purposefully towards the door.
I stay real out the way.
Okay.
I go half orc and follow behind.
Okay.
What the devil is this?
I'm sorry, this is City Watch business. You have any business you have here must take place at a later date. Unfortunately, this entire shop is under investigation.
I'm afraid that's quite unacceptable. I have business with Master Alikaz.
A captain of the guard has been killed. It is a very grave matter, and unfortunately, this person is under investigation as perhaps the murderer themselves.
Well, when did this happen?
Who did you say you were?
I'm Merchant Tove.
Roll me a deception check.
All right.
Go on, Sapsas.
Deception. It's only a 12.
You're half orc acting as almost like a sort of bodyguard.
Do I get a help action?
You know when you look at them and you're not sure if she is bodyguard, if she is wife.
Could be a very large wife.
The guard inquiring rolled an 11.
Oof.
Thank
Nice.
God for that.
Sorry. As you can imagine, this is quite a recent shock to us. It happened only last night.
Well, I was with Master Alikaz last night.
I'm sorry. When did you start drinking with him?
We weren't drinking. We were discussing business matters. It was for most of the afternoon. There's a complicated order that my associates in Charlem require.
Very well.
I would say I was here from 2 in the afternoon until maybe 5.
Yeah, it was around that time, yeah.
Very well. You, Gnome, may come with me. You, half-orc, stay here with my colleagues. Come inside.
Come with you where?
Inside.
Yes, okay, I'm sure we can get this all straightened out.
And he walks in, and what little there is to trash is in disarray. The cards that were incredibly meticulously placed showing what can be ordered there were thrown out. You can see one person at the back behind a counter currently trying to work out how to get through into any back room. You can see Alakaz off in the corner looking suitably distraught and also incensed that they have disturbed his business at this early hour, still standing there. He's wearing what looks like a nightgown, bedrobes, but is also soaking wet.
Oh.
Okay.
And is dripping all over his shop.
This is an outrage. This is guard harassment.
Police brutality.
Please be quiet for a moment, the elven guard says to you. Sergeant, and a sprightly, young but harsh-eyed elf kind of runs over to you. Yes, who is this? He said his name is Trader Tovar, and he was with Alakaz all day yesterday.
All afternoon from 2 till 5.
I'm sorry. Thank you for being more precise. The sergeant looks you up and down and says, "So it would appear you got to know our suspect quite well, then."
Well, we have a business relationship, yes.
Very well. And you are Trader Tovar, and you were Merchant Tovar, and you were with our suspect from 2 until late.
2 until 5.
Late for doing business. Very well. Stay here in silence. And he motions for 2 guards to flank you on both sides and walks back over to Alakaz. Apothecary Alakaz, you may have been given somewhat of a alibi. How do you know this man? And he gestures to you.
I will. I'll just do it. I'll try and do fairly surreptitiously signal a 2 with one hand and a 5 with the other.
Okay. Roll me a sleight of hand check.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Bear in mind, Worm is with you.
That's true. Yeah. Thank you for the reminder. Yeah, I will instruct Worm telepathically to whisper the story I just told the guards into Alakaz's head.
Do you make the motion with your hand?
No.
Okay. Alright. Roll me a stealth check with advantage for an invisible
On behalf of Worm?
For invisible Worm.
For invisible Worm.
Invisible worm.
Stealth with advantage. Oh, that's 24.
Okay.
What, Sepsis might be a shady bugger, but he's really useful to have around.
You feel the weight leave your shoulder, and because you are looking intently at Alakaz, you can see just a slight depression on his, like a slight fold in the cloth that wasn't there before as something lands on him. And after staring at you for a moment, I am very sorry. I require glasses normally, this especially this early in the morning. My eyes are not as acute as yours in the dry air. They are built for being underwater. But I believe from his dress and his diminutive stature that this is my good colleague, Merchant Tovar. A deep gnome for which I have incredibly high regard. So high in fact that I spent a good 3 hours yesterday from perhaps, he would perhaps tell you better, but maybe between 2 and closing, so 5, discussing trade and I believe a particular something that his benefactors want back on the continent. Yes, and very good. What? And he stands in front of you. The sergeant kind of blocks Alakaz's eyesight and whispers, and roll a perception check for me. In fact, you don't have to. I just realised, because Worm is on his shoulder.
Worm is right there.
Worm's right there.
Yeah.
We love Worm.
Back to the chain.
Find Familiar is the most overpowered level 1 spell that exists.
Yep. Okay. So, you hear through Worm. If perhaps you could tell me, and remember, no confidentiality will save you, the nature of the item he asked you to prepare for his master. Alakaz kind of looks sheepish for a moment and bows his head. He says his master is, I believe, quite embarrassed about this, but has heard that I am incredibly good at making balms for a very certain kind of itch one would get from having liaisons with unwashed humans. And the elf nods and walks back over to you. What is the item your benefactor required from you back on the continent?
My benefactor has sworn me to secrecy. It is a personal matter.
And your friend's life hangs in the balance, so tell us or he dies.
STD salve, innit?
My benefactor has certain understandable but not very well looked upon predilections, and these indiscretions have led him to develop a sort of rash. Master Alakaz.
Stop! I do not need
It's really
any
pustual
more.
and
It's very it becomes very moist.
Please, no more. Please, I've heard enough.
Yes, quite so.
Weeping.
And he stands there for a very long moment. That turns into maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and he's staring off into the distance, and you can see the anger in him. Where once at the beginning it was a fire, is now just a kind of burning low, smouldering embers, as he realizes that he may have lost this time. Very well. Apothecary Alakaz, we apologise for this early intrusion. However, you can possibly understand that being one so heavily investigated by our captain recently for crimes too heinous to account for at this present time, upon his death through some strange means that cannot be discerned, you can imagine how you were perhaps our first suspect. Of course, I can imagine that I was high up on that list. We apologise for any mess caused. And you can see he's biting his tongue with every word. He hates apologising to this man, but unfortunately he now has a witness. And he waves his hand. All of the elven guards start to vacate quickly, and without another word, they leave. You were left alone outside as a half-orc, and you see all the guards kind of walk off, They're not in any kind of formation. They're very angry. Some of them kind of one aims a kick at a passing messenger child. It misses. The messenger
I
boy is
step
quite quick.
inside.
Before everyone comes in, Bray,
Yeah.
I just want to whisper to Alakaz through Worm in my own voice.
Okay.
Nobody needs to know that I have any knowledge about poisons or your various arts.
Of course, my friend.
I'm gonna step through the door, and as I step through the door, making sure it's clear behind me and the elves have gone.
Yeah.
In a drop disguise self. Just go, bloody hell, that was close.
The rest of you see all the elves wander off, and Clint kind of motions that you should make your way over to the shop now as well.
Can I just double check they have all gone? There's no watchers left keeping an eye on the building.
Make a perception check.
That's my sad noise. Yeah. I was right to be sad. No
Greg's
guards.
whole arm went missing.
There are no guards. Everything's fine. Fa la la.
Clint must be an expert in checking for guards watching, though, surely.
Clint rolled an actual
Ben,
20.
your arm's gone.
My arm's gone. Yeah.
Clint
because I haven't been able to
actually
get to the
rolled.
gym.
Clint actually rolled an actual 20. So don't worry, it's safe. We can go.
All right.
Okay. Ace is gonna follow.
Okay. And
We've
you
made a
all.
mess in here. Unless it was like this before.
And
Good
you
thing
walk
we
in.
decided to get an early start today.
You see a quite clean room, marble worktops, cards, strangely enough, small, slightly discoloured ivory card is just strewn everywhere with little bits of very, very fine but very beautiful writing on them. And you can see that Alakaz has started picking up the cards, and he's kind of like reading which one it is and then slotting them between his fingers, which is slightly difficult because they're webbed. And starts like kind of holding them in different sections, and you can see there are four like spaces between his fingers. There are also 4 marble worktops, and you can see he's kind of looking at one, and as he picks up a card he slots it in one, and then the 4th and the 2nd and the 4th and the 3rd. Oh, you've brought friends. Wonderful. Are you all looking for tincture of... I suppose...
No, we're here to collect what we discussed yesterday.
Of course.
Yes. Looking for. I give whatever code Clint gave previously.
Clint, my boy. And he walks over with a wave of his hand. The door does close. And the windows go slightly dark. So the room grows darker. And he hugs Clint. Embraces him tightly, and Clint, looking slightly awkward, kind of hugs him as well. That was close, Uncle Al. Yes, my boy, yes it was. But it won't be the last time. Certainly not the first. It's such a fine morning, though, apart from that. I'm sure all of you must wish tea
I would love some.
Yeah, I could tea.
on a rooftop terrace.
That sounds
And
good.
very pleasant.
Then please, follow me. And he takes you behind the counter. As he does so, he shifts a stone in the wall, and almost you can't see anything happen, and suddenly he disappears into the wall.
Clever.
And as
I
you
start
walk,
following.
as you walk around the counter, you can now see at this angle that the pristine white walls are not flush with each other anymore. There is now a small gap that could not be seen previously. And you make your way up 2, 3, 4 flights of stairs, and eventually you get to what is familiar to Sepsis, a quite well appointed rooftop terrace that has a myriad of strange, complicated smells. There's about 6 different alchemy benches, all with different coloured experiments going on. But in the middle is a table, chairs, and tea. I am the apothecary in the house. I was just preparing for tea myself when all of the horrendous loud hammering came from downstairs. If you will all sit, please. And he gestures the dice first. Is that you, my dear? 1 lump or 2?
None for me, actually. The tea, but not sugar.
Very good, very good. Exactly how I take it. And for you, my large, imposing friend. And he looks at Ace.
Yeah, same for me. Thank you.
Very well. And have you dropped the half-orc disguise?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not a blue tiefling.
You are an incredibly rare sight.
Yeah.
1 for tea for you?
I'm okay, thank you.
Very well. We have juices or water. Please help yourself if you will not have tea. Edgar, my friend. And at this, you all kind of look, because Edgar has obviously been left in a hotel. No, Cedric. Was it Edgar or Cedric you called yourself?
I
Cedric.
called myself Cedric.
Cedric, sorry.
Yeah.
Cedric. So Cedric has been left in the hotel. You have no idea who they're talking to. And
Edgar rat.
that's right.
Yeah, Edgar was a
Sorry.
rat.
Yeah.
He lived in a cloak.
And then Sepsis, kind of.
Hello.
Will you take tea,
I
Cedric?
don't drink tea.
Then please help yourself to anything else. Clint, I know how you like it. So, I take it from the intrusion this morning that your mission was successful yesterday.
You know it was. We already discussed it.
There was, of course, the chance that they could have revived him or brought him back, but I take it from their
Seems not.
anger that did not happen.
I take it the same.
As one who is, as one apothecary, better dealing with the healing of others than the harm, I thank you, my friend. It cannot have been an easy task for you, asking you to do something so heinous, and obviously it was very difficult for you, having no experience in these matters, but you are a credit to yourself and I suppose your friends who helped you. You have taken a horrid man off the streets of this city.
I'm just contemplating whether it's reasonable to roll an insight check against Alakaz for that.
Go for it.
Again, based on having previously rolled the insight check against.
I wasn't saying anything.
I know. 18.
Okay. You absolutely believe every word coming out of his mouth.
Nice.
I figured he
Work,
had to
Alakaz.
roll this.
Not knowing him very well, having only just met him, and having heard of but never actually met a Triton, you're not quite sure how to read them, but yeah, you're pretty certain that he's above board.
All right.
I mean, you can't. You have to forgive the captain for investigating so thoroughly. He thinks he was investigating some child slave labor thing. But yeah, I imagine he wasn't a very nice person.
I'm sure, my dear. I'm sorry, I do not know your name.
Ariana.
I'm sure, my dear, that that's what he told you or led you to believe, but the truth, I'm afraid, is a much longer, harder to understand story. We'll get there in
What
time.
he was investigating, or what you actually do with the children?
Oh, he knows what was happening with the children.
Interesting.
Truly.
It is only when elven children are taken that they actually manage or drum up interest in an investigation. Any other race is, oh well, pity, but people do go missing.
But it was only when an elven child was suddenly taken,
that they send an investigator in.
taught better.
Yes. It's very rare we can get our hands on one. They're so heavily guarded up until their testing.
The children at the moment, where are they being sent?
Well, recent reports have told us that Nidum is no longer an option, so they are sent east. I believe some are sent further north, some to the south.
How old are you?
Needham's no longer able to take them on because it's moved.
Yes. I believe most of the people there went west to, there is a large, mainly human-run dockland there, still overlooked by elves, but the furthest point west of Cimria, and then I believe they may have, either some of them travelled to Avalon, the old Green Isle, or north, potentially to Pickland.
But there's nothing west of Avalon.
There is nothing west of Avalon. Roll a perception check.
What? Out of curiosity?
Nat 20.
Hey!
As you say, there's nothing west of Avalon. His eyes glaze over. The pupils dilate. There is no sense. There is no one home. The light is on, but they fucked off a while ago. And he repeats mechanically, there is nothing west of Avalon.
Yeah. There's something that happened in the tavern yesterday.
I'm sorry, what was?
Is there anything west of Avalon?
There is nothing west of Avalon.
Yeah, that.
With your perception check, you also notice, as does everyone else, Clint murmurs it from behind you.
There is something west of Avalon that doesn't want to be found.
There is nothing west of Avalon, and they both say it louder this time.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Disconcerting. Ace is very confused and concerned.
Least of our problems right now.
Something to come back to in the future, I think.
Do you keep a record of all the children taken?
A written record, no. I did once. It fell into the wrong hands, and many children, unfortunately, were caught, some tortured. So, mainly now, the record is what you saw downstairs.
But nothing from 18 years ago.
That would be table, I believe, 3. And you remember all of the tables. Each one of my potions, as you go downstairs, you will find that each one of them has a name and a number attributed to them. Normal ingredients, very normal potions, but you'll see on the first 3 and just the beginning of the 4th table, all of the potions have different names. And that is my own small way of remembering.
And do the children keep their names from their parents or from wherever they came from, or do you give them new names?
Oh, they are named for the parents they are sent to, or by the parents they are sent to normally. The names on the cards downstairs relate to sometimes race, if they're particularly memorable. And he kind of softens a lot as he's just looking off into the distance, and some of the names relate to how wide their smiles were, how bright their eyes were. Maybe
I think I actually likes children.
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Do you have any particular reason for asking such, I suppose, specific questions, my dear?
I was raised in Nidum.
We all were.
You're
And
distinct.
seeing as some of us don't match the race of those who raised us.
Some of you were born there, though, and know who your parents are.
I do. I was.
I don't.
I look so much like my parents, there can be no doubt.
And you, my dear, you do not know who your parents are.
Me?
Hmm.
No. I was raised by a single old gnome.
Before I answer your questions about your possible parentage, let me perhaps explain to you something you did not know about where you grew. We are not the only avenue for a child being sent to Nidum.
I figured as much.
You might know.
There are a few towns around and about that are frequented by a benefactor. Nidum, I believe, until recently, was his favourite, as it was his first. It's the longest standing town of freedom in this empire. And
We broke it.
we thought he chose those areas because they were out of the way, but it seems his favourite areas are special because we rarely need to make up the numbers with the children we send over. Children just happen to find their way there. It has never been explained, as he has not deigned to tell us how, but more often than not, we believe the answers lie with him. He finds them himself.
What
So,
is his name, the benefactor?
Marcus, I assume.
Marcus? No, I do not know him by that name.
What name do you know?
I know him by the name Levian.
Can you say that again?
Levian.
Nevian.
Levion.
Oh,
Levian.
not Nevian. I won't remember. Carry on.
So what you're telling me is there's a very good chance that when Granny told me she found me under a bush, it was true.
I have heard tell of people found under bushes in Eden before now, yes.
Oh, God's help me.
So you have never personally transported a unusual tiefling like Ori?
I have never heard of a tiefling as pure as your friend, no.
How long would you say it's been?
Hmm?
How long would you say it's been since anyone's seen someone like Oriana?
Centuries.
Yeah, going by how people react when they see me, that sounds about right.
Do any of you... How much do any of you know about how tieflings are, or first generation tieflings at least, are made? I don't mean I don't mean the birds and the bees and the ins and outs. I mean,
well, Granny told me it's the result of someone usually a human, making a deal with a demon.
well, yes, there's a deal, but there's also the fornication part.
Yeah, you asked me to skip that bit.
I did. However, demons, in their purest form, at least one's powerful enough to father a child on this plane, cannot access this realm.
So you're telling me that whoever my mother is could plane shift?
That is not a spell I have heard of anyone possessing for hundreds of years.
So let me get this straight.
The planes are sundered. They cannot be accessed.
I'm not sure that's true, but what you're essentially saying is that Oriana is an impossibility. She can't exist. There is no way for Oriana to exist.
What I'm saying...
That's a very sneaky way of summoning a demon.
What I am saying is that a demon has not been seen in these lands or in the Elven Empire for the last 500 years. Though, since the sundering of the planes, there may still be powerful demons that were left on this side of the barrier when the sundering occurred.
Well, Ariana looks very good for 500 years old, so I presume it's
I mean, that's not entirely
Someone
true. I'm
found a
18 and I
loophole.
look 25.
It's true, you look a little older than you should.
but you don't look 500.
No.
Those red questions, Ari.
I would think, if you want answers for your parentage, your birth, you must travel south or much further east.
And I look at Ori and just mouth.
Eventually we're going south. Maybe I'll find something there.
Demons tend to like...
That, or I'll learn how to summon a demon.
Demons tend to like hotter climes.
Yeah, I can vouch for that.
And I hear it is very nice in the south this time of year.
It's interesting to me that you helped these children. Forgive me, you seem very reasonable towards humans as well. I'm often surprised by the amount of people who don't seem to share the elves' viewpoints.
It's not necessarily their viewpoints they're sharing. But again, this must be almost experienced to be explained fully. I was saved.
You were saved.
As a stupid, I suppose, reckless child, I was saved from almost certain death at the jaws of a huge, angry, trident-eating shark by a human. And I owe that man a life debt, which, if what I know to be true, I will never pay.
He's already dead.
No, I'm not sure he can die.
Marcus.
Levi.
So both names are the same person.
I think when they become immortal, they stop being human.
Why would he?
Oh no, he is human. It's just, I've seen him heal from the most grievous of wounds, though it appears to age him ever so slowly, but my eyes are a lot more acute than I led those elves to believe. It does age him to heal. There may be a blade one day that can sunder his life force, but he has not met one yet.
How did he come to be in a position to save you from a shark?
I do not know. He was not there, and then he was.
It's interesting. There seems to be so much we don't know, and we are constantly on the back foot trying to work out what we should know.
Being born in Nidum, you already know about 10 times more of the natural world than any human you will meet in this city, including Clint. He was brought up in these streets, not in a safer environment that you were.
I'd argue that he had a better upbringing, in some senses.
I'd argue that
He is more streetwise and hardened, I suppose, but he did not have a parent, not have one person doting on him. Sorry, Mel?
Neither do we anymore,
They have just moved.
but we can't see them.
We can never go back there.
You can't see them now.
If what Levian said was true, we can't go back at all without putting everyone in grave danger again, and we wouldn't do that.
Why is that?
There's a blood trace on us.
Ah, and he does immediately look slightly less comfortable.
Mm.
And,
We didn't leave Nidum in the usual sense that people do. We were banished.
The very fact you're asking most of these questions, I surmised.
Have you ever met anyone else who's been banished? Or are we the first?
You are the first. If you have a blood trace on you, from the hunters the elves would employ, I can imagine why you were banished. It's through no fault of your own.
We had the audacity to save a prince.
Oh, that was you.
Should have let him die.
Couldn't agree
Don't think
more.
that would have put us in any better
Hang on.
position.
You saved the prince's life.
Yes.
The four of you.
Yes.
Yes.
3.
Me, Oriana, and Ace.
Something like that. An elven prince would remember you, would remember your faces, would trust that you meant him no harm.
I think his parents have had long enough to convince him otherwise.
No. He's not old enough yet.
Where are you going with this? What are you intending?
I will discuss this with Father. I believe you have many more uses than you know.
Flatterer.
I have your purchase ready for you. Cedric, my friend.
Fantastic.
Do you need instruction on how it is used? I could write it out for you in simple, a simple bullet point list.
I believe you said it was to be consumed.
But it must be prepared. It comes in 2 vials. I will write you a list. It's not for dabblers or amateurs.
I would appreciate your instruction then.
And he starts writing on a card.
Panic and name yourself after the dog.
I wouldn't say panic.
Sorry?
My name is Sepsis.
Like the blood disorder?
Blood poisoning.
Correct. My master's name was Pestilence. He had an interesting sense of humour.
Not from what I remember of him, but I suppose you can say that. Very well. Sepsis.
Sepsis may have an unusual name, but they are an invaluable ally and friend.
I can imagine. But please, I must clear my shop and get ready for the day's business and perhaps some more harassment from the local law enforcement. If there is anything else?
No, thank you.
And as you all rise to leave, he does turn to you all and is like, please allow me to just say, we put these children where we do so that they might have at least a chance of a good, happy beginning at life. That is all we were intending for them, or perhaps those people who found you intended for you.
I know.
We apologize, or I do at least, that you have been put in this situation and find yourselves in constant peril, but you do have friends out there in the world who will help you.
I don't believe anyone placed me in the care of Master Pestilence expecting that it would be a happy life, sir.
Oh.
Again, though, Sepsis, my friend, it does look like you now have people who will care and help you. Care for and help you.
These people protect me, they know that I'm weak.
Sepsis, we work
I don't know that
you.
you're weak.
I think you're very strong.
You've proven pretty self-efficient recently.
Absolutely. Again, invaluable. You can friend as well.
I mean, you took on that captain on your own, essentially.
I am able to make my small contributions, but if left to my own devices, I think we all know I would end up in a lot of trouble very fast.
I think
People
all of
don't
us
take
left
to
to our
me,
own
they-
devices would end up in trouble rather fast.
Yes, but people
But-
don't take to me the way they take to you, and I'm not
Well,
physically
people wouldn't
capable of
take to me
protecting
very well.
my myself.
in my own form.
That's true, Ace. You're not always the most talky, and Sepsis, you're right. Your gob would get you in trouble in days.
I hope that we will work together again soon.
I hope so too.
No doubt. Right.
Back
So
to the
you
hotel.
pick up what you need to, or you need to get back to the hotel to see if Lord stuff stuck up his ass has replied.
Councilman Culver.
Over! I said careful.
And he shows you out and closes the door behind you, and you see the windows lighten as he does so. Well, that was enlightening. Slightly. Maybe not, for some of you. You were right, Dory.
Sorry, I just got completely distracted by the chat. I will be.
I mean, I didn't know who my parents were.
I'm not particularly bothered about knowing who they are, just
Where you came from?
how. Like, I know the mechanics. Maybe why?
To be fair, your mechanics are a little different from the norm.
I mean, there's just an extra step.
Sure. But it is interesting. I would like to know for your sake. I think knowing your history is important.
I wonder what the deal was.
That is also an interesting point.
I think what's frustrating me more than recently is, well, no, it's okay. Let's get back to the hotel.
And
I
as,
don't understand this obsession with knowing one's history.
Do you not care, Sepsis?
Sometimes you need to know your past so that you can make a future.
I fundamentally disagree with you. It's the people, whoever I came from, whoever gave me up so that I ended up in the care of my master. They have no impact on my life now. My decisions aren't shaped by them. They didn't want or weren't able to shape my life, and
What if
now
you were
I
taken?
am who I am. What?
What if you were taken from them, that they didn't give you up?
Why does that matter? They have no influence over me. I am who I am, and they are who they are, and those two things are unrelated.
Good point.
you make your way eventually back to the hotel, and you make your way upstairs, and as you pass through the reception, the woman is just standing there kind of sitting there fanning herself, laid out on some grass. Your what's the word, package was delivered, received, and there is an answer waiting in your room.
Thank you.
Would you need fresh towels?
Yeah. Yes,
I
please.
will have some up here shortly.
Thank you.
And she just keeps fanning herself.
As we walk past her, when we're out of sight, I just look at Ori and go,
As soon as we're in the room and out of earshot, going, I'd have to hit her with a land train. There's something so vapid about.
is she high? Is she drunk? Does she just care so little about what's happening? Why is she employed? She is the world's worst receptionist. Most of them can at least smile at you. If not at me.
She's not she's not employed. It's her hotel.
It's a very nice hotel, but she's not
Hospitable.
hospitable. Oh no.
I feel she is sort of carrying the mood of the establishment, perhaps.
I'm thinking maybe she should employ a receptionist.
I think she's trying to appear more fey than perhaps she really is.
It's possible.
I think she's a dozy bitch, but there we go.
Yeah. What is the term of trying too hard?
There is, as you enter the room, a letter on what has come to be the table waiting there.
Oh, I know what this could be. And I open it.
That until we were in the room, just so we're clear, because I didn't want
No, I know.
her to.
No, I said it was when we were in the room.
Inside the letter,
Let's open it.
my dearest Lady Devona, it gladdens my heart that you have deigned, upon your visit to our fine city here in Cimria, to ask after me and send this fine gift. I had sent one of my own servants into the market only yesterday afternoon to purchase just such a bottle, and was told that it had already been purchased. It is a marvellous coincidence that it just so happens to have been purchased by you, apparently for me. I would ask if you could take time out of your busy itinerary while you are visiting to perhaps sample some of this fine bottle with me on my balcony in my grounds, perhaps later on tonight. Signed, Councillor, Lord and Senator Culver.
I love it when
How
a
many
plan
titles
comes
does
together.
one person need? Okay, so we need to send a reply of yes, and work out how we're going to get you on the balcony.
So I will get out my pens and I write,
I'd be delighted.
Dear Lord Senator Culver, thank you so much for responding in such a prompt fashion. I am delighted to accept, and I am very much looking forward to seeing you this evening and sampling the wine with you. I confess I was tempted to sample it myself, and I am very glad that I will get the chance to do so with you.
Yeah, whatever. Lick it
It'll
and send it.
taste much sweeter with your company.
Rich, do I need to roll it?
Yeah, roll me a Dex plus double your proficiency.
Yeah, it's not quite as good, but it's not bad. 17?
17. It is beautiful again. It looks more hastily scrawled, but I suppose it kind of adds a sense of excitement, as if she's writing it herself and is happy to have been requested. But yeah, it'll suffice.
All right, Terry?
Yeah, lick it and send it.
I fold it carefully into a beautiful envelope and go, I'm not taking it down to her. I won't talk to her again. Ace, you do it. I don't want to deal with her.
I'll take it.
Fine.
I could take it if you. I'm going back out. I need to get some supplies if we're heading off tonight anyway.
But you're just dropping it
Yeah,
off.
can
Yeah,
Ace roll a insight on whether Clint is into the vapid elf girl?
Okay.
Yeah.
Elf girl, or is Clint going to drop it directly to Lord Devona?
Drop it to the elf.
Lord
That is. That's a 17.
17.
Yeah.
He's, as you saw when you were walking upstairs, is he didn't really pay her much attention, and even when she spoke, looked at her with kind of like confusion and disgust, very much in the same vein as you guys. If you like, I can just give it to a messenger and get it sent over now.
That would make more sense, I think, rather than keep involving the owner of the hotel.
Yeah.
If there's anything else you want to ask me, ask now, because I need to go and get my stuff.
I think we're okay until this evening. What do you think?
Daggers, bow, arrow, lockpick. Anything else you can think of?
I have lockpicks on me.
Bombs?
I haven't got any bombs. We can take
Whatever
bombs.
takes your fancy to bring.
I'll see what I can do.
Smoke
And
bombs would actually be handy should it come down to it.
he smiles, blows everyone a kiss, and walks out.
I wave like this. Goodbye!
I sincerely hope that bombs do not become necessary.
Well, the plan is solid, but you know what they say about best laid plans never surviving the first encounter with the enemy.
No.
Well, I believe, based on a history book I once read, that is a common phrase.
What would you like to do to prepare? It's early. You're not requested until the time was in there. I didn't read it out, but the time was in there. It was about 9 o'clock. It is now about 10 o'clock in the morning.
I'm probably going to try and fit in a long rest. It sounds stupid, but I'd rather have. I've used one spell slot. I might as well try and clear it.
Okay.
I
and
can
we're
do a
gonna
bit
be
of
up-
napping, a bit of meditating, a bit of praying.
Okay.
I
Now-
won't use the altar cloth this time.
I'm going to send Worm over to just stay invisible, flying above the perimeter, watching the guards' movements and
Okay.
trying to gain some insight on whether there are particular times that would be, better. Whether there are like regular changings of the guards, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And that I'll just leave them out until like an hour before we're heading over.
Got you.
So if they change every like 2 hours, every 3 hours, every whatever, we should
You'll know.
be able to at least establish that.
Okay.
And
Now-
This is going to determine what a servant of a fine elven woman should
Okay.
probably wear.
Now, in this long rest, then, you are effectively a wizard, Dice. Right? So, unfortunately, Oriana and Sepsis can't do this. During this long rest, if you want to, at the end of this, Ace and Dice, you can change your spells. Not your cantrips, but your prepared
Just
first
us.
or second level spells can be changed. Because it's a long rest.
Okay.
That's why I'm looking at it.
Can I still take a long rest?
Yeah, you can still take a long rest. That's fine. So everyone take a long rest.
I will do
I
it.
mean, I don't actually need to
I
click
don't
if
need
I haven't
to,
used
yeah.
anything.
I just wanted to get the one spell slot back so I can use it again for disguise self.
Alright. It's alright, let's take that off. Just realised this is out loud again, sorry.
Ace, are there any spells you fancy?
Zone of Truth. What was that?
I feel
I
like
feel
we
attacked.
need it for this.
I feel
We're not gonna
constantly
need
attacked
Zone of
by
Truth.
Zone of Truth.
We're not going to need Zone of Truth for the encounter.
No, I know. But the threat is there looming, and I like that.
I have Ensnaring Strike, which seems like it might be of use. Shield of Faith,
You have
Misty
first and
Step.
second level spells, do you, or do you only have?
Yes, I have first and second.
I'm just looking to see if there's any. I think the
Got the good old Moonbeam.
See, that's not that helpful.
I mean, locate object could definitely be useful if we're able to get any information about particular objects.
That makes
know,
sense, because
If we could try and find like a ledger or something like that.
yeah, because Speak with Animals is going to be of 0 use, so I could swap it out for that.
Speak with Animals is always prepared for you.
Oh, is that a cantrip rather than a?
No, it's a
No,
spell,
it's-
but it's class specific, so it's always
Ah,
there.
okay.
Bless is pretty useful. No, I suppose it isn't. Doesn't apply to ability checks.
I have.
If we're trying to be sneaky, then Thunderous might be one to swap out with something.
Yeah, I would probably not use that.
Yeah.
I have the ability to create a magical trap if we wanted to place something behind us in the labyrinth to prevent anything getting close.
You can actually, if you wish, be having this conversation in character.
Yeah.
Do we think that command could be of use?
It couldn't hurt. Like it's a good
standard to have?
Yeah, it can be sort of like a in a pinch, if we were trying to make our way out and someone spotted us and was running towards us, you could give them a halt,
Yeah.
or even a grovel.
Grovel,
I suppose Ace would probably do halt rather
Yeah.
than grovel.
Rather
But,
than grovel, yes. Or
yeah.
fear, because
Fleet,
it's not
yeah.
causing them any harm. But,
Yeah, or just drop, whatever, like something to stop them from, attacking or running off and alerting someone else for a round. Couldn't hurt if we're trying to get out in a hurry.
what do we think of detect magic? Is that worth keeping at the moment, or?
Oh yeah, definitely. If we're searching if we're gonna search offices and
Yeah.
rooms where they keep shit. If they've
Detect
got
magic's
magical
gonna
shit,
be
it would be
good.
really useful to know about it.
Yeah.
I have both detect magic and identify anyway.
Yeah. So maybe I could swap it out for something a little, like maybe locate object, just to be more specific.
Yeah, sure.
Because my spell slots are very limited. I have less than
Oh.
I think.
Yeah. Would you prefer me keep it then?
Keep it.
What detect? Yeah.
You keep detect magic. I'll prepare identify, and then we're not duplicating spells.
Okay.
Can you do ritual spells, Dice?
Yeah.
Because you can cast identify without expending a slot, can't you? If
Yes.
you do it as a ritual, but it takes 11 minutes, which, if we're doing it in a pinch, might not be great.
For the record, I also have invisibility.
Nice. Good spell for this.
Yeah, but if I use invisibility, I can't use spider climb. If I use spider climb, I can't use invisibility, both of which are useful, so...
Yeah.
Concentration.
Do you only have one slot of that level, then?
No, both are concentration.
Oh, right. You mean you can't use them at the same time?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
But the only second level spells I've bothered preparing, everything else is firsts. So I can cast both at some point, should I need to. Am I okay to take the long rest, Rich?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just having this discussion while resting, so.
I am fully recovered and good to go. I'm still not taking poor Cedric with me, which really cripples me as a character, but it's fine. Doesn't
So
make sense.
who's going as what?
I'm going as your servant.
Yep. And I'll be going as your bodyguard.
I think you and Dice are
So you're
sneaking
going
in.
for dice.
Yes.
Yeah,
Sorry.
because you can't lie.
It's true.
So Dice, Clint, and Ace are going in the back gate.
Okay.
Ace, don't forget to actually equip your armour.
Yeah, unequip.
Yeah.
Clint comes back like halfway through the long rest, but sees you're all busy in the middle of discussing plans and just kind of sits at the back watching.
Just to check.
There we go. Unequipped.
Say again?
Have I got the bag of holding still?
Yeah.
Right.
Does anyone have like leather armor that Ace could wear? Because otherwise they're just in their skivs.
I really don't.
Maybe that's, I could use some of that time between here and 9 o'clock to maybe acquire some.
I can go and get some if you wish.
That would be very helpful, thank you.
I'll be back soon. And Clint leaves again.
Sorry, Clint.
Clint's our runner today.
Our little gopher.
So
It's
are
the
we
work
going with
experience
regular
kit.
or studded?
You'll see when he comes back.
I think whatever you get, we'll be glad of.
Yeah. Pretty much take what you give and say thank you.
Yeah.
So at about 6 o'clock in the evening then, Clint returns. He's got a bundle in his arm and he spreads it out in front of him, and it is studded leather armor.
Nice. Stealth armor.
I mean, this is the best I could do. There's nothing too special about it. It's just...
That's perfect, thank you. Gives me something at least.
It belongs to Kerry, but she says it's a little bit too big for her, so I think it should fit you just right.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
It's currently saying I'm over carrying capacity. I assume we don't care because it's the bag of holding that's taken me over. Let's just assume I've put some stuff in it.
Okay.
What are you carrying?
Stuff.
The strength score isn't very high.
Thanks.
My strength score is rubbish.
I was mine, but I'm not. I'm nowhere near my carrying capacity.
I am carrying 2 crossbows.
Do you have a boat?
I have 2 crossbows.
I
Equipment.
have.
I've got
Sorry, DM. Am I going with just studded leather coming up for me? Light armor, studded leather, yeah?
Yeah, so.
Cool.
I remember to equip it as well.
Yep.
Okay.
Ba-bam. Done.
Okay.
I just went up by 50 pounds in
I-
weight.
My strength score is 8, and I'm at about half my carrying capacity.
Yeah, but my studded leather armor alone takes up a lot of weight.
I'm
True.
just unencumbered.
Everything
Like, I'm not carrying anything.
Everything I'm carrying is potions, but vials.
The bag
bottles.
I'm holding as well is 15 pounds,
Yeah.
which is an insane weight for an empty bag. But
I mean, if it's a heavily beaded bag,
That's a fuck ton of beads.
that's like the
Yeah.
weight of 2
just
babies.
actual stone.
So you spend your last couple of hours preparing, going over your plans. Sepsis telling you where all the entrances are. The servant's door hidden by the hedge.
Has Worm managed to get any idea about like guard rotations?
Worm does report back to you. The guards are different from the ones they were in the morning. However, at around about 6, when you finish your long rest, they change again. So the guards that you see when you go in will have been on shift for about 3 hours.
And how long? We don't. And he only saw them change that once while he was there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we can conclude from that there's probably like a day shift and a night shift.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're not going to be changing while we're in there, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Bri, remind me how long the unconsciousness poison lasts. I think he said 8 hours, but
It increases the body's need to have a long rest. So it preys on the body's natural need for rest and recuperation by effectively knocking you out for an evening.
right.
It works like my old antihistamines used to.
Good night. Or like
Basically.
the time I accidentally took night nurse instead of day nurse.
That's
I'm fat-
amazing.
If you ever take chlorophenamine, it just knocks you out. It's like, yeah, you won't die if you're asleep.
Kind of mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, the hour comes close.
Yeah.
What do you look like, Oriana, as you appear proud? You try something?
Well, I've got a paler blue and less impressive horns,
Okay.
and I guess I don't know what colour goes well with a pale blue.
Purple.
I've got a purple dress on,
Okay. Revealing.
crushed velvet.
I would have said a gold or an orange.
It's got gold accents.
Yeah.
There's gold embroidery on it.
I'm gonna go for like a sort of mid-teenage. You're just sinking out of frame, mate.
I know,
Okay.
it's because my knees keep locking. So I'm
I'm
just
gonna-
moving to keep them happy.
I'm gonna go for like a mid-teenage rock gnome lady
Okay.
in like a reasonably fancy dress, kind of like lady in waiting looking
Okay.
type
Yeah.
person.
I need a name for you, Sepsis.
Call me
Ishmael.
no. Call
Sorry.
me
All right.
Call me
I
Sana.
think.
Sana.
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 Sanitary?
Who's Sana Parry?
Never mind.
I genuinely don't know.
No,
Who or what is
Sana.
Sana Parry?
Sanitary.
Harry.
Sanitary?
I hate you.
Right. Sana.
That's vile.
Dice gets inspiration.
Oh,
Absolutely fuck you. I quit this entire campaign.
What time is it?
It is now about 8:45.
Right, we should make our way.
let's go. Oh wait, no, you go. We'll wait.
You wait.
Yeah, we'll wait.
Okay. So,
We'll go and start
Great.
enjoying the lovely evening until you attack us.
Just before Rory goes, I give her a hug and go, "It will never matter to me where you came from." And
I
just
know.
a big hug, and then kick her up.
okay. So, you make your way downstairs.
Making our way downstairs.
The elven woman pays you absolutely no mind whatsoever.
I pay her no mind whatsoever.
Stuff her face.
And you walk into the street. It is a bright and lively evening. The sky is still at twilight stage, even at this effectively late hour. The sun is setting slowly to the west. And you see the lighters are out. There's quite a lot of guards wandering around, quite a lot of very well-dressed, well-to-do elves walking in couples. A few other races are there as well. But you make your way across the street, and as you get to the huge wrought iron gates with the beautiful artwork done on them, you do see that the garden inside is lit as if day. There seem to be torches and braziers shining everywhere. Almost like a garden party is going to happen, but there doesn't seem to be anyone else there. Apart from what you can see immediately apparent to the two guards standing on either side of the huge 20-foot wide gate.
Approach the gate.
As you
Shall I
approach,
go ahead and announce you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I shall approach the guards and say, "My Lady Devona to see Councilman Culver."
your ladyship is expected. Please allow us just a moment, and they hurry to open the gates and allow you in.
Thank you.
I curtsy as the lady walks past.
You walk in. It's incredibly lush, but the building in front of you is imposing. You can see there are a throng of maybe 5 guards standing on top of the roof, just staring down at you. They don't have their bows slung. There's no magical energy in place of a string, but they are very obviously watching you carefully. And as you get closer, the large, dark wooden front doors open silently, and out strides a tall, handsome, again short-haired. It's rare, but you've met a couple of them. Short-haired elf in long, flowing golden robes, and he stands with his arms clasped behind his back, waiting patiently for you to rise the 10 large marble stairs in front of him.
When I get close to the top, I sort of go, "Good evening."
Lady Devona, your rumours of your beauty are not to be believed, or at least ignored for their inadequacy. You are stunning to behold. You grace my garden and make it ever more pleasant for your presence. Please, allow me, follow me into your home, my home. I did not think you would bring a guest.
Oh, this is just Sana, my maid. She comes with me everywhere.
And of course,
She won't be a bother.
And of course she should. A lady travelling abroad from the continent cannot be too careful. Otherwise you could be subject to the whims of strange old men such as myself. Please, enter. And he takes you inside. Huge hallway, marble floor, plaster walls, but with frescoes everywhere of, again, elven victories. You can see elves standing on mountains of corpses. Most of them look human. There are weapons on every wall, some strange, exotic swords, double-ended swords that you've never seen before, crossbows, bows. And further on into the hallway you can see the heads of animals, some ravenous in their relief, some... There's a fox there, there's a badger there, there's a rabbit head. There seems to be just trophies of everything he's killed on the wall. Apart from humanoid races. But you can imagine looking at him as he gestures at them and smiles at you and talks about them and about the great rabbit that he slayed, the badger that he had to dig out himself as it lay dying for days in its own burrow. And a set, that's the one. And you smile, and you can see that you can imagine there is a secret room in the house in which the heads of humans are probably mounted. But he eventually takes you upstairs and takes you into immediately a bedroom. I apologise for, of course, any impropriety. We are not stopping here, of course. Not quite yet.
No, you mentioned your balcony.
Yes, and this is the only way to it. And the bed is just lavish. It's just satin sheets, 4-poster bed that's about the size of your room back in Nidum. It's huge. And he takes you to...
It's one of those ones for sleepovers.
Yeah.
I cover my mouth and giggle shyly.
Takes you to the large glass doors leading out into the balcony. There is already a meal prepared. Only 2 chairs though. The other chairs that Sepsis saw earlier on with Worm have been removed. And there is a candlelit dinner for 2 prepared. And you can see, given pride of place in the centre of the table, the bottle of wine that you sent him. Please, milady, won't you sit?
Yeah, thank you.
I was going to pour, but of course, if you would prefer that your servant do it. That's that's of course what they're for, isn't it?
No, I think it would be delightful. Sana, would you do us the honours?
Of course, my lady.
That's
I
good.
will. So they are both sat there, pretty clearly watching. I think this would be a risky moment. So I'm going to just do.
Well, make a perception check.
Yeah.
I can try distracting.
It's a 14.
It's a
perception
14.
check.
Yeah. Kolvar is not looking at you.
Okay.
Kolvar is looking at Oriana.
Okay. In that case, I will. Am I pouring into a jug or into glasses?
Straight from the bottle into glasses.
In that case, I will attempt to poison Kolvar's glass.
Mm-hmm.
As I do this.
Okay. Make me a sleight of hand check.
Do I have advantage on account of he's not looking at me?
Yes. Because I've said it now.
You did say it.
I'm leaning with my elbows on the table, pushing my tits up. It's fine.
Okay.
10.
10.
Yeah, it's a good thing I had advantage. The other one was a 1.
Jesus.
God.
That's a heavy disadvantage on that. I can't
Nope.
see it.
Can't see it.
Right a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, a bit more. Right, there we go.
6. I looked at the Twitch stream instead.
I'm just gonna say, I wouldn't have even rolled this if you hadn't told me he wasn't looking at me. This is entrapment.
you pour the poison into his glass, or some of it at least, and he takes the glass, sniffs it. A very fine exotic bouquet. Please, Santa, was it? Sana, sorry, I apologise. Please pour your ladyship one, and we can toast to your health and your continued enjoyment of your journey around our kingdom.
And to new friends.
Yes, of course. I'm sure we will be.
I pour one for Devona.
Or one out for the homies.
Without poison.
Yes, without
Okay.
poison, yeah.
And cool, okay. And you toast, and
I take a mouthful.
he follows suit and takes a sip of the wine. Okay. While this is going on, Ace, Dice, and Clint.
Yep, that's us. Hi.
So, what exactly are we doing?
We're going in through the labyrinth, breaking in, and then...
How are we distracting the guards on the wall?
Did we ever go over this?
No.
Right.
You do have Worm with you, just to be clear. So if you want to send him up onto the wall or anything, you could do that.
So we have a couple of options. I could do quite an elaborate distraction. But I don't know that that is the way forward. We could try and just get past them. How stealthy are you?
Well, me?
Yeah.
Quite. I could creep up to the wall. I'm not sure about you two.
I might have some difficulty, but
Well,
less than usual.
I was going to say, you are more stealthy than normal with that cloak you're wearing.
Mm-hmm.
We were hoping to get in without drawing any attention to us at all.
Okay.
I'm very stealthy.
What can the strange winged thing do?
The other strange, weird thing.
The strange winged thing, the little one there.
Oh, well, I guess if they were so inclined, they could fly overhead somewhere screeching furiously to make them all look in one particular direction. They could drop something, throw something. I don't know. Worm thinks for themselves, or Sepsis normally thinks for them, I think. No offense, Worm.
Nantiken.
Do you know a form you could take that usually is quite distracting to elves? One?
People don't like snakes.
That's true. I think,
Tell you
possibly...
what, people don't like imps. Very much.
I honestly think flying overhead in a specific direction, flapping and drawing attention to yourself, singing bawdy songs or something, and then vanishing into the darkness could actually work.
Yeah.
If I was a guard, I would certainly swing around and look at that.
Alright, I'll try it.
Wait. Clint, what do you think of the idea?
I've just got to get to the door and get us in. If no one's looking at us, that's a plus.
So much the easier, right? I mean, if we can get within 60 feet, theoretically I could set off fireworks. That would draw everyone's attention, but it's loud and it's gaudy and it might be too much.
There's an alleyway about 50 feet away from it.
Yeah, and that's great, but it might draw the attention of people in the house. It could draw more attention than we want.
Yeah, I think using one might be our best option right now.
You look hesitant, Clint.
No, this your plan, I'm just here to facilitate.
And isn't that the truth? I mean, I can definitely set off a little fireworks display. It would be very distracting, I can guarantee it. and it would get us in. Getting out is still going to be a problem. We're going to need a distraction in and a distraction out. So perhaps we use Worm on the way in, and we go in a little quieter. We use the fireworks on the way out when...
Go out with a bang.
Okay.
Go out with a bang.
Okay. And then let's go. And only a couple of minutes then after Boreana and Sepsis leave and take a left instead of the right that they took, keeping to the shadows of the buildings that you're near, and eventually you get to the alleyway that Clint was talking about. You're about 50 feet away, you can see the wooden doors in front of you. There are no guards on the ground floor outside the doors this time, but there are quite a few guards that you can see walking along with torches on the wall above. Right.
Okay.
Which way am I going?
It's really hard without a map, Rich. What would seem logical? Because I don't want to say go right and have it not make any sense. That is a very loud book. That's less helpful than you might think.
Yeah.
Literally, all we can see is 2 lines.
You are currently in an alleyway right above that,
Okay, looking directly opposite.
looking at 2 wooden gates there. All guards along this wall.
All right. Well, what if you fly straight down the middle, singing as loudly as possible and making a ruckus, flapping, flap towards their heads and flap away. You know how people are always scared of bats, which is ridiculous.
All right.
But don't get close enough to get shot, and if there is any risk, disappear.
Okay. So why don't I just fly overhead and then down into the garden and start singing this up?
Don't go down into the garden.
So stay up in the air.
Yeah.
Stay up in the air, flap around. We want them looking up and away from these gates.
Right. Okay.
Okay, you with me? You got this?
Yeah. I'm good. And you hear him flap, and he disappears. And after a few moments, you can speak Infernal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. After a few moments, you hear in Infernal, I've got a song that'll get on your nerves, get on your nerves, get on your nerves. I've got a song that'll get on your nerves, get on your nerves. To Ace, it sounds like
It like I can tell it rhymes.
yeah.
Like,
You can tell there's a tune
like
to
a rhythm
it. There's a
to
tune
it.
to it.
but it sounds awful.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. Do you know what that little shit is singing? Do you know what? It's not important. Let's get to...
Clint goes. Roll a perception check for me, both of you.
Alright. Oh, nice. 13.
A dirty 20.
Okay. All of the guards are currently facing away and up in the air. You can't really tell where the source of the singing is coming from. I need you to roll me, are you still moving stealthily or are you legging it?
Stealthily.
Yeah.
Roll me a stealth check, the both of you, please.
Both with advantage.
Yeah, you're wearing the cloaks.
Hell yeah, we are.
17.
And thank God for that.
Yeah, 17.
17? 20. Okay.
But that they have disadvantage on perceiving us as well.
Mm-hmm. The guards' heads do not move. They do not swivel back to you as you rush towards the gate, even as Clint stumbles and catches himself and causes a slight clatter on the cobblestones. They still do not turn. That means, though, that Dice gets to the door first. You can see a small door. There is a lock.
I'm going to attempt to pick the lock.
Go
Can
for
I
it.
see if are there any traps on the door? Why would there be? That would be really stupid. It's their back garden. No, I'm just going to roll to pick the lock.
Okay.
And that's a tool that I have proficiency in, so that's nice. Right. So it's Dex check again, is it?
Yeah. Dex plus double your proficiency bonus.
You're muted, Greg.
14.
I said if it's trapped, you're going to feel like such a goober.
What was the roll? 14.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, your lockpick breaks inside the lock. That's it at that moment that Clint catches you up. And he's like,
Good.
I've been doing this for a little bit longer than you. Give me a moment. And he takes out a tool, and after a few seconds, you see the broken end of your lockpick kind of slide back out, clatter silently on the ground. Clint has a go, and you can see not even his thieves' tools, but you see like little kind of almost tiny keys extend from the fingertips of the gloves he's wearing. And that's a natural 20. And even though
That's what we like to hear.
you did damage it a bit, but after about 30 seconds, click, and he pushes the door. It does creak, though, quite loudly. No one seems to notice. Anyway, so, what do you want to do?
Head into the maze and begin to make our way through it. Stealthily.
As you get in, then, the walls of the maze are about 20 feet high. It's incredibly difficult to see over them. You can see the general direction of the house, but that is it. You can't see the walls around you or the guards on them. From the angle that the walls are at, it would also make it very difficult for them to see down into the maze as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I still hear Worm?
Worm sings for a moment more, but then abruptly stops.
Okay, I'm going to very quietly go, Worm. Worm? Worm. Any answer?
Not for a moment, but you do then, after about 30 seconds, feel some claws and a weight land on your shoulder.
Oh, good. Okay. We need to know which way to go, and you're the best choice because you can fly above and tell us the way through the maze.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna have to keep coming back, right?
Yeah, sorry, I'm not telepathic.
That's fine. Okay.
Maybe
They're watching
turn
now, though.
invisible for this?
Yeah, well, yeah, but they're watching now, so, give me a moment. And he flies back off. Because they're alert and watching, I'm going to need Sepsis to roll a stealth check.
For an invisible worm.
For an invisible flying worm.
Yeah, with advantage, because he's invisible.
Okay. 14. Can't fucking roll dice today.
Me neither. I rolled an 8 on that lockpick check. +6 for that now, and I rolled an 8.
As he goes up, you see a bolt of energy fly from the direction of one of the walls, straight to where you believe Worm is.
Oh,
What's Worm's armor class?
What did you roll?
What's Worm's armor class?
13.
13. It misses.
I was
Just.
going to say, an attack against him would be at disadvantage because he's invisible.
I know. I rolled it as disadvantage. Just fine.
Okay.
So you feel the weight on your shoulder again. Alright. Need to get a bit further in before I do that again. But
Yeah.
you need to take a right in 30 feet and then a left. And then I'll go up again.
Alright, let's do it. And we'll slowly start to make our way through. Still being stealthy though, because we don't want anyone to hear us, even if they can't see us.
So roll a stealth check for me.
Happily.
With advantage still?
Yeah.
Oh my god. That is impossible. I just rolled. I'm going to see if you guys can see this. Okay. This was the actual roll I had. Wait, I need it in front of my face.
Hey.
2020.
Lucky
So
for some.
22.
Not. I had 17.
Cool. Okay, so you both succeed quite well. Even when it appears that Ace is going to make some noise by stepping on some dry twigs, Dice very handily just kind of like bumps them out of the way, and they find their footing again and move on. Back to the balcony.
Back to reality.
So, as you're chatting inanely about the goings-on of the city and your travels so far, he does not look like he's getting tired. He takes another sip of his wine. And continues to talk. So, what do you think of our fine city? Of what you've seen of it so far?
From the small amount I've seen so far, it's quite charming. The market's wonderful.
Oh,
we spent
yes.
some time yesterday looking at the some of the more exotic animals.
Ah, the menagerie of Alfred.
Yes.
Yes.
They had what did he call it? A nightmare?
Ah, fine beast.
Absolutely gorgeous.
I fear the nightmare is already currently promised to the royals. I apologise. I do not mean any slight or offence. It's just...
No.
If you are a royalist yourself, I did not mean insult. But of course we are free. We are free men and women, of course.
Everyone is entitled to their opinion.
Entitled to an opinion that I'm sure will not leave this balcony.
Of course not.
But anyway, perhaps it is time for a what's the word I was looking for? A senate to take over instead.
Perhaps.
I apologise. I did not mean to yawn in front of you. It was quite rude.
Don't worry about it. I imagine it's been quite a long, busy day for you as a counsellor.
Of course, yes. I shall have one of my servants bring us some coffee. What was their name? Pinky! And just screams out. And a young human serving girl kind of walks in, looking very downtrodden. Yes, master. Bring us pick me up. Coffees.
Coffee?
Coffee, yes. And please leave it at the door. The other servant will get it. I don't want our guest seeing such a sad face. Could you smile more, please? And just sends the girl off. And she scurries out of the room.
Like this.
Where were we? What was I talking about? Ah, yes, myself. So, yes, a senate. Wait, did we get there? And he yawns again.
I take another sip of my glass, and then sort of gesture if you'd like a top up.
Yes, of course. Wine and coffee. What a marvel. And he's blinking a lot. And he raises his glass to you, to your health.
Future Senate.
To the future Senate. And he drains his glass. Oh. There is a knock on the door. The door does not reopen.
I'll open it.
Okay. There is a tray with a pot of coffee and cups and cream and sugar.
I will add a little bit of the poison to his cup.
Okay.
And bring it over.
Okay. He takes the cup. Ah, good. Yes. This'll sort me out. See me right. And he sips quite a lot from the cup. apologise. These chairs seem to be very hard on my posterior. Perhaps we could sojourn into my room. I have couches. I have chairs where we can be much more comfortable.
Of course. I start stifling, like pretending to stifle yawns and things, like I'm getting sleepy.
Okay. Sure. You should.
It's a long day.
Yes, but you should drink more coffee like me. It'll see you right. Come, Santa?
Sana.
Sorry, again. Could you bring the tray in with you, please?
Of course, my lord.
And he walks through into the room.
I follow him through, holding my cup of coffee.
I follow them both, carrying the tray.
He sits down and proceeds to almost kind of lounge back, lay down with his head on the pillow before he sits up and goes, "Oh, sorry, I apologise. It just looks..."
No, make yourself comfortable.
It
You've
just-
obviously had quite the stressful day.
It did look so comfortable.
My lady, you look very tired. Are you okay?
I'm well, thank you. I sort of sit in one of the chairs and lean back slightly. I'm like, we're friends. We can be relaxed around each other.
Perhaps, Santa, you should have some coffee so that you may keep an eye on proceedings here.
My lord is too kind, of course. And I'll... There's only... I'm afraid there's only 2 cups, my lord.
Use one of the
Oh,
glasses.
use mine. It's quite fine.
Ah, okay. I
Santa has
will...
been a dear servant of mine for years.
I
Yes.
will...
Gnomes are quite long-lived, aren't they?
They are, yes.
Useful in that regard.
I shall take a sort of large sip of the coffee,
Mm-hmm.
and then sort of immediately start kind of swaying and looking faint.
My eyes seem to be burning. Santa, could you... Sorry, I apologise. Sundry, could you put out the candles? I believe the smoke from them is playing havoc with my eyes this evening.
My lord, yes, of course I will, and I'll take 2 sort of tottering steps and just sort of faint, drop the tray and everything.
Oh!
Your lady's maid seems to have got the right idea, and he falls forward.
Oriana's in the chair, leaning on the arm.
Yeah. He falls forward out of his seat and face plants the table. Doesn't move for a moment, and then you hear.
Oh, thank God, I didn't.
I'll stand up and dust myself off. I was starting to think it was never going to take effect.
It's like he was fighting it into the last second.
Oh my god, he can
Like a
talk.
cobbler.
Okay.
Like a cobbler?
I'm gonna...
Yeah, when toddlers fight, Flea.
Toddler.
Cobbler.
Yeah.
while he's asleep, I'm gonna, like, tilt his head back and pour all but the last few drops of the poison into him.
Okay.
And
Just to
hold his
make
nose
sure.
until he swallows it. Oh yeah.
Rub his throat like a cat.
Yeah, rub his throat like a cat.
Whatever
he
it
is out for the count.
Right. I think we have the this room at least to ourselves for a little while.
Well, look for anything valuable.
Roll me an investigation check. Both of you.
Charlie, what's your bonus to investigation?
3.
Okay. Do you want to do it with advantage then if we're both
Yes,
doing
please.
it? Yeah, because I've got 2.
That's much better. 17.
17. Okay. In this room, then, at least, there are mainly clothing. However, you do discover, just rifling under the mattress, because it's where you used to hide your ill-gotten goods, from Nana or Granny, you get your hand hits upon a long box. It's a long, thin box, and you open it. And
Very
it is,
cute dildo.
Yeah,
and it is
that's
a case.
exactly where my brain went.
The case, however, is locked.
Ceramic.
I'm going to while
Actually,
this
I show
while,
it to them, so it's like, is it?
I was going to say that while Laurie's investigating, I'm going to look through Worm's eyes and try and deliver a message to Dice and Ace.
Until that moment, then, Dice, Ace, and Clint. You send Worm back up again when you come to a crossroads.
Yes.
Sepsis, roll a stealth check for Worm.
Jesus Christ, 13.
And this time he is not seen. So the weight leaves your shoulder for a little longer this time. Comes back. Frizzy one. Dice, yes.
Frizzy one. Yes.
2 left, a right. Past. You got to pass 2 lefts and 1 right, and then hang a right. And then another left, and you should be in the seating area.
All right. Let's see what we can do.
Or did you want to go to the serving stall?
This
We
is-
would have
was there
discussed. We
anything-
definitely would have discussed this. The servant's door is doesn't appear to be locked or watched. So
Right.
that's
Yeah, you knew that already, didn't you?
yeah. I knew that from my investigation. I definitely would have discussed it with them when we were going over the plans.
Yeah. Fine. Okay. Servant's door.
Alright, don't pass 3 left then. Pass 2 and take a left, and then a right.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So we proceed on the route.
roll a stealth check.
I need to set up a bit.
Both of you with
Yeah.
advantage.
All right. It was 12 that time.
With advantage.
Yeah, I rolled a 10 and a 1.
Okay.
Somehow got 17 again
Whee.
on a different dice.
Okay. No, you're alright. As you're moving through, then Dice is making a lot more noise this time round. However, Clint picking up the rear kind of helps you out, and you do kind of muffle a lot of your footsteps. Ace, feeling light as a feather this time, because she's the first time she's ever gone on in armour that isn't made of metal. It isn't made of metal. Find themselves skipping off ahead, almost in complete silence, until eventually you do find directed there the servant's door into the home at the rear. It's at this moment that through Worm, Sepsis speaks to you.
Guys, the illustrious Lord Kolvar is he appears to have come over all sleepy.
How many servants did you see in the building that we're going to have to get past coming in this way?
I saw quite a few coming in earlier on. We've only seen one while we've been in here.
Maybe a night shift. Okay, we'll see what we
He
should be.
treats them not particularly well. I wouldn't think that they would have any particular loyalty.
All right. At this moment, I'm going to cast Disguise Self
Mm-hmm.
and make myself look just like the half orc face I sometimes use.
Okay.
'Cause I don't want to be a human, really.
Okay.
Don't want this to fall back on the humans.
Okay.
Um,
I'm going to follow suit on that.
Hat of disguise.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you gonna look like? Half orc.
Yeah. Similarly dressed.
You both look obviously very imposing and wonderful, and not at all like yourselves. And Clint just kind of gestures to himself.
Honestly, there's only so much we can do, but at least this way we look like the ringleaders.
Well, hang on. And he puts his hood up and he pulls like a little kind of cap down so it goes just above his eyebrows, and then he pulls like a little kerchief up so all you can see is his eyes through a dark black leather mask.
Good shout. Okay.
You guys do the talking, I suppose?
I
We
am
can do that.
dating, but okay. And I open the door quietly. I try and stealthily open the door and walk in. Stealthily.
Okay. The door is unlocked. Roll a stealth check.
I don't want to. It went badly last time. Okay, 17.
Can't see that one. 12.
12.
One of us always has to screw up.
Okay.
And anyone has disadvantage on perceiving us as well.
You walk in, and you are in a very familiar room. It's a room in a different elven lord's mansion that you've seen before. It's a familiar setup. Straw beds on the floor, many sleeping human forms inside them. But it is dark, very few candles. They're conserving the limited amount of wax candles that they're given. And people seem to be resting, or at least dozing. No one seems to have noticed you. It's a long room. There is a door on the opposite end.
We head for the door
Okay.
at the end, trying not to make any noise.
Okay. As you make your way through them, with those stealth checks, you get to the far end. There is a door, but there are also, not seen from where you entered, some stairs leading off into the wall to the right. Where do you want to go?
I need to know what's up those stairs, because I believe they've gone up to the balcony, so perhaps that's the servants' route to their master's chambers.
Worm can always go ahead.
Yeah, maybe Worm Kids plot a route for it.
Worm, could you check what's up those stairs if it leads to the master's rooms?
Hang on.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
He goes up the stairs silently and invisibly, and sees.
So he would probably do this in spider form.
Okay.
Just a thing.
Moves up the stairs in spider form, and when he gets to the top, it seems to be a small preparation room, like a small upstairs kitchen. And there is currently a girl cleaning a coffee pot. Or cleaning what the coffee would have been brewed in, not the pot it would have been served in. Small human girl. She looks a bit angry and frustrated. She's scrubbing it with hatred, muttering to herself.
Does this get relayed to me by Worm when he comes down?
He comes back down and tells you.
We have two choices. We can go through the door at the end, or if we go that way, perhaps she would be willing to direct us and not say anything afterwards.
I mean, if she's frustrated.
That's what Worm said. It depends how
Yeah.
good. No offense, again, Worm. I insult you a lot, but it depends how good Worm is at reading human facial expressions.
They haven't let us down with it previously.
They haven't tried. I'm not sure being seen by anyone, but we want someone to carry the story.
You know the look that was on Oriana's face last night when she thought Sepsis had done a really bad thing and she was very angry with him? Them.
Yeah,
That look.
that is frustration. Possibly murder. Hard to tell.
That's a good sign for us. I say we try.
Alright, that's... Witnesses are no bad thing. Say, the house was robbed. We could offer to tie her up. You know, it supports our story, doesn't it?
If I'm still watching through Worm's eyes,
Yeah.
I would suggest.
Maybe the little girl is scared of snakes.
I don't want to intimidate the girl.
We'll see how we go
If
with
Worm-
honey before we use
There we go.
anything else.
I'm thinking that if Worm slithered in and hissed and rattled a bit, perhaps the little girl would run away.
Not a bad
Well,
idea.
You
perhaps
wouldn't have
she'd
to come
stand and
into
fight.
contact
What kind of little girl would not run away from a
from
snake?
a snake. I
One
don't see why
one
she
that's
would.
tired of running away from things.
Mm.
I would, in her shoes, probably. Why would you risk yourself for a master you hate? Let's talk to her first. Sorry, sepsis. And I walk up the steps.
Okay.
Did I recognise the girl? Was it the girl that we saw?
Yes, the one that the master referred to as Pinky.
Yeah. I say I'll tell them that. I'll say the girl's called Pinky. Councillor Kolva treats her well, about the way you'd expect.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Not sure Pinky will be her actual name, but we'll give a go.
That's what he called her.
We're walking in through half-orcs. She's not going to like us no matter what. And, I walk into the kitchen.
Did she notice us?
She immediately notices you as you walk up the stairs, because it's quite brightly lit in this room. And she turns and just stops everything she's doing and looks shocked at you. Who are you?
Well, the way I see it here, we've got two options. You can either tell your master you saw some of the Thieves' Guild coming in to take some of his stuff, and we'll tie you up for tonight, or we can just pretend you didn't see us and walk through. Your shout.
Do you want to roll persuasion or intimidation?
Persuasion. I want her to be tied up.
Okay.
Really badly. It's very late.
Roll persuasion.
Alright. I can't, because I can't remember where any of my spells are, because I'm having to use my phone and now I'm confused. Persuasion. Sorry about this, everyone.
It's alright.
I don't use it very often. Yeah, it's 11.
Okay.
Intimidation is not better, just so we're clear.
Oh, sorry. With advantage because of her mood.
Yeah.
That would have been 19.
Okay. I'm
Just go grab painkillers.
Okay.
I'm not disinclined to being tied up.
Okay.
That's-
Ace is gonna pull some. Can I find any rope in the room?
You got rope on you.
Oh, okay, cool. I will tie her.
You tie her up. What in particular are you looking for?
We're looking for valuables, things he holds very dear. Basically, we'd like to leave this man a broken shell if at all possible.
You want his office then?
Ideally, that'd be great.
This floor. It's the second door on the left balcony.
All right, thanks.
Thank you very much. And when you're ready to release yourself, just tug on this, and I put a small part of the cord in her hand, in her palm.
Okay.
That seems unwise, Ace. I don't think Ace. I say that seems unwise. Giving her a way out.
Well, she's got the option.
All right, but it would look a lot better for you if you're still tied up come morning, because then you can't be implicated in this, and you know what they do to humans who've been involved.
I know. Would you like to knock me out?
I'd really rather not. You can pretend to be knocked out, can't you?
I need the bruise, really.
What's your name?
Saren.
Saren. Nice name.
Thank you.
All right, but I really don't want to.
Sorry. Just close your eyes. This is kind of...
I think you're probably better to do this.
Don't tell
It'll
me.
cause less harm.
Don't tell me when you're going to do it. Just don't.
Greg, you're muted.
Worm will say, "I don't mind."
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna. No, and I just punch her in the side of the head and try and knock her out.
Okay.
I am not strong. No,
You need to do an unarmed strike.
that's done. I go, Ace, I really think you're better placed to actually get this right, and I'll swap a Ace to do it because I
Okay.
can't punch.
I'll do an unarmed strike just with
Okay.
the intention of knocking her out.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. Ooh. Sorry, just double checking something.
Okay.
I've got a -1 to strength. I just poked.
Ooh. Yeah, that's definitely a hit. It's an 18. So, yeah, she gets four damage.
Cool. Okay. You strike her on the side of the head, and she's only little, and already you can see quite a large bruise on the side of her head is raising.
Ace immediately
kind of-
feels like terrible about it.
Okay. There's another door to exit this room.
As we're leaving, I'm going to pull a bit of the girl's clothes just round under her head, so her head's not on the floor, and I'm going to put I don't know, 10 silver in her pocket. Just
Okay.
Ace slips her a gold.
just the richest. Really.
She gets caught with that, she's gonna be fucking murdered. You've killed her.
Okay. So
Silver.
you make your way out onto the balcony.
Yeah.
The second floor central area is just a long kind of landing that goes around in a horseshoe from the front of the property. So when she says balcony, it basically means all of the rooms are built off the central space. And you can see which room she means. Worm relays it back to Sepsis.
Rich.
Yeah.
I think this next time just because it's 11:15.
I know. I absolutely know.
Okay. All right. Just checking. Sometimes you don't know what time it is.
No, I know, I'm watching.
If Worm relays where they're going to Sepsis, and if Oriana's finished searching the bedroom, I would pass that information on to Ori.
Okay.
Would it be reasonably easy to reverse engineer how to get there from where we are?
Yeah.
Okay.
You saw, through the eyes of Worm, you know where you're going. You're at the front of the property. If you take the exit, you're on the same kind of landing to the left of the building. So yeah, it'd be easy to get to. There's just a couple of doors away from the one you're in.
Okay. Is Charlie here? I don't know if she's back.
Yeah.
Charlie's there.
Should we make our way to the office?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. As you try and move the case that you found under the bed and try and take it with you, it is incredibly heavy.
Okay, can you?
The case is about 6 inches deep, but it is maybe 4 foot long and 2 foot wide.
Jesus Christ! What is?
Can I check it for traps?
There don't seem to be any traps, but there are two what look like heavy padlocks holding it closed. But it is stupidly heavy, and it clinks slightly when you try and move it. But the clink isn't a high pitch; it's a very dull clink.
I'm gonna search him for the keys.
Okay. Roll an investigation check again.
20, but 20.
There are keys on him. The keys, however, none of them look small enough to fit into the keys, into the locks that you see on there. But they look like they would be for doors, just standard door locks. Perhaps the keys to the rest of the house.
Sepsis, did you say the others were coming up the stairs?
Yes. Should I suggest that they come here so that we could possibly put this box into Dice's magic bag?
Yes.
Okay, I'll
see if one of the locks.
I'll relay that through Worm. Just sort of give them the advice to detour via this bedroom.
Okay. And as you make your way along the landing, you get to the door. But just before you get to the door, you hear a click of a door opening behind you.
Can I attempt to hide?
Too late, unfortunately. You turn just in time to see two guards kind of readjusting themselves as they exit. You hear a rush of water as the door closes behind them, and the rush of water is silenced as they exit what appears to be the latrine. And on the landing, which is about 10 foot wide, there are two guards staring at the three of you. And they go for their bows. Join us next week to find out how that is going to go.
What a bastard.
But yes.
Go shoot one of them in the head.
Right, okay, yes. We're going to leave it there because it is late, but I just wanted to get to that moment. I didn't want to just leave it with, so yeah, you guys are walking up the stairs, you guys are sitting, twiddling your thumbs.
I'm just gonna drop out now because otherwise I'm going to snap my knees.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Thanks,
Night,
Charles.
night, bye guys.
Good night, love you.
See you in a bit, baby.
Love you too. Bye.
Yes, so thanks for playing. Thanks those who stuck with us for watching. And again, thanks those who will watch. This has gone later than usual, so the goodbye is probably going to be a lot shorter. But yeah, thanks again. Everyone needs to stay safe, stay inside, stay away from family members you don't absolutely have to see. Do not have barbecues with your friends. Fuck's sake. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your isolation. And we'll see you again soon.
See you next week.
Bye.
Love you all.